So, previously in Eridon, after a harrowing success of the Forsaken Winds in the Durastian occupied Olandris, including the defeat of one of King Zavar's four talons, Coda Never, a new year now begins, and the United Kin army prepares to launch into Creatia from For's Hollow. After sharing intel with some of your leaders and reconnecting with Kari and Magnus, you helped determine your next mission, marching west into Creatia with a portion of the army to attack one of the siege encampments to the west of Athros, which still somehow is standing firm in its defense. This would be one part of a three-pronged strategy to disrupt Durast's ability to pressure Athros, and would buy the United Kin army some valuable land assets along the way in their warfare efforts. But first, the army needs time to train and make preparations, and it is determined that the army will march out in 4 weeks' time on the 1st of Sun's Dawn, or February 1st. Until then, you all have time to make use of the coming weeks. You'll be briefed often and frequently throughout by your three generals, Mathros, Rillis, and Dinah, but otherwise you can spend time how you wish, training with military units, working on morale with troops, or whatever other various tasks you're interested in pursuing while you have the time. Currently, it is the morning of Tyrdas, the 4th of Evening Star, early in the year 1669, 5E.
Fourth, right?
Once more, you have all woken this morning to a brisk and refreshing winter day in For's Hollow, where the sky is cloudy and fat flakes of frost drift lazily through the air, and you're welcomed to another pretty glorious breakfast spread by Gemariza, the dwarven chef and one of the leaders of the Noras. And before we tackle downtime interests, Mathros will request your presence at the war room in the Nora Fort for official unit selection and evaluation of troops available for the coming mission.
In my notes, I almost wrote unit selection with daddy. we should end the session.
No, there's 6 minutes left.
Well, yeah, let's just end it before we get started in scene.
Get it fresh.
Dumb shit.
It's just like when you're the goat, you're the goat.
I didn't know why you were saying that at first.
Also, from what I can tell, it looks like Mike and Steve are not in the Spotify if you want
What?
to be.
But this way I just get to listen to Twin Elms the whole time.
And with that, Toby drops to 0 hit points. You just hear.
Oh, it's fine. It's got to be fine.
But Mathros will call you all into the war room and suggest that, now, as I will be accompanying you for this mission, I will be able to facilitate our use of additional Selethar forces. However, since Rillis and Dinah will lead their troops toward the other pincer point, they can spare only 100 fighters for each of our use. Although many of the Noras wish to stay here and there in case of the need arises to defend their homes, some are able to accompany us, and we will have adequate numbers to facilitate a small unit. Additionally, in Mythiline Rome, it will of course be advantageous to continue utilizing your creatures, at least the ones that respond to your aid where you walk. And the most effective path for our army's travel will avoid many settlements, but likely bring us through the Senation Pass, where an ancient fort has long lied abandoned there, but very likely Durast has been able to reinforce it. Having Wild Sage Blossom, the treant you've awakened, attached for our assistance, will aid our ability to break through its defenses. So consider his aid as well.
Jerry, get out of here.
And in future warfare efforts, perhaps more versatile unit types may become available, but for this strike mission and dividing our forces into pieces for best effectiveness, we'll stick with what you all know, as long as you're comfortable leading them again.
I think that works for me.
Does anyone have any concerns before we break and begin preparations over the next weeks?
No.
No.
I guess I'm curious. Are the other groups going to be blends of Salathar and the Terra Nora Corps as well?
The majority of our forces will be with us, some remaining back here in For's Hollow to continue seeing to the town's defense, looking into Belladonia's actions, as well as facilitating reinforcements from the forest and Southlands. There will be 2 units accompanying Rillis and Dinah as they venture around to the north and then west in Atheros' northern encampments. And then, as discussed with Kari, as long as we can hone in on an exact day, which we've tentatively planned to be the 3rd of Sun's Dawn, we will be able to lie in wait, pass when their supply lines are disrupted at Magnus's accommodation, and then we can move into place and hopefully on the 5th engage simultaneously if we can. We'll not be able to maintain clear and quick communication with each other's branches in the fray, other than perhaps Tobirama reaching out and anywhere else we can accommodate that kind of magic, but it is rare and not easily utilized.
I wonder that
We could also send some of these forest critters between the groups to communicate as well.
We certainly could, Mythaline, but they would not move any faster than the Aura Corps we have in our employ, and it would still be likely 2 days' travel or more for them to relay information back and forth between the different angles of the city.
Unless they need you to, lead them. I don't think they'd fight without you.
Well, I was also just thinking, with Toby messaging mid-combat, that could be really advantageous. What if, for example, Dinah tells us, Vidria's here, and we know not to lie in wait for a threat that's not coming and use our resources better? It just could, since it's not often that we coordinated strikes simultaneously, but it could give a little bit of intel that might prove helpful.
Or where the Arc Knight is, right? What if he doesn't show up
Exactly.
north?
Then we might brace ourselves for a threat.
Agreed. Certainly extremely valuable. Depends on what judgment calls you're able to make in the moment, Tobirama, or if your sister Telpirin can facilitate the stones she said she was working on you, if you're willing to let them be utilized by the other branch, for example, but I don't know what tasks you have in mind for their use.
Just
Point being is, even if we have these options, they are seldom and rare. But if you are all comfortable with the units you'll be controlling in a month's time, get to know your people, refamiliarize yourself, train with them if you can find the time, but I know you're all busy individuals. Otherwise, let us regather at least on the last day of the month, for on the 1st of Sun's Dawn we march.
March. How long is the march to wherever we're going?
We intend to make a safe and cautious march for 2 days' time toward the boundaries of where Olandris's scouting regiments can see. The moment Magnus takes them out of commission and disrupts supply lines on the 3rd, in theory, that is the day we sprint past those areas. Then another 2 days march westward should get us to where we need to be in Atheros, near Atheros. But again, we will have to pass through the Senation Pass, which will likely be closer to Atheros than Olandris. We'll have to fight our way through, most likely, if it is occupied by Durast, and then we'll hopefully have a night to camp before the true fray.
Neat.
Very well. Let us know if there's anything you need throughout the coming weeks. We will brief you on intel we get, if of use, periodically, but otherwise, we'll let you see to yourselves. Thank you, Four Winds. You're dismissed.
Thank you, General.
I'll sit behind for a second. Father, I want to tell you about my plan for the next few weeks, and just also, I've been having a bit of a think about my role in our house, among our people, and now among this new alliance, and I realize I don't think I've been playing to my strengths of late. I perhaps have taken after Mother and Minerva a little too much, but the fight with Kota Navarre just really showed me. I don't know. I think I've been pulling myself in a lot of directions, trying to be part politician, part tactic, part warrior, part team member of this small group. And I think I need to start trying a little less to help with the political and the inspirational and just focus on my techniques and my studying and my practice as Crescent Knight, which I have in some respect dropped. It's a weird decision because it feels selfish, but also I don't think it is.
I will not try to convince you of anything other than what your heart dictates. If anything, it brings a smile to my face that there is one of my children is still much like myself. You have far more ability to play diplomat and court noble than I ever have. You have taken after your mother and Minerva in some ways, but I gladden to hear that you're interested in doubling down on what you do best. And your swordsplay has grown through the ranks of our people. Tales have been told of the Crescent Knight who wields the powers of old. I believe there are some on their way now, more, who are, even if only still burgeoning in their powers, are eager to continue to learn from you. Some might even arrive on the morrow. Perhaps you might make use of training them, guiding them if you're willing. Otherwise, the Selethar, and I'm sure the other Villian, are at your disposal for any training you're interested in.
No, I think that sounds wonderful. How unexpected. No, I think that might actually facilitate my own place in the Crescent Knight, which is what I wish. So just want to let you know that, yeah, I do see that similarity and I appreciate it.
We're all very proud of you, son. And I'm at the top of the list.
Dad.
Daddy.
You're dismissed, soldier.
Thank you, Daddy.
This is my heavy scene, MK.
I'm giving it a think, a little bit of a cry.
Very well. Well, as you are all dismissed from the war room and able to see to various downtime interests, I'm somewhat interested in having us roll to determine order of how to stagger and handle people's downtime interests.
Get your D5s out, everyone.
Your D5s. Yeah, let's have everyone roll a D20 and
Initiative or just flat D20?
just flat D20.
You know, this is
Highest-
going to be my only nat 20 this session.
highest number can either go or choose to defer if they want and aren't ready for any reason. Got most of them.
I got
Toby?
a 2.
And a 2. So it looks like Jiri with an 18, your highest. Do you want to tackle your downtime activities first?
Can we do like a stagger thing where I do like one activity and then like the next person does an activity?
Yeah, absolutely. That's
Kind of
a
just like
great way to
cycle
do it.
through.
The only not concern, only hiccup that could arise there is if someone's interested in putting their entire time toward one task, we'll just resolve that. But otherwise, yeah, if you got a couple bullet points, yeah, let's stagger them.
That way we don't run into the point of like the order of things happening because like we might want to do stuff with other people. But
sure. Love it.
The first thing Jerry is going to do is he wants to put on this party for the Nora mercenaries for our victory. So he is going to put 50 gold towards purchasing like provisions for the party, and he is going to prepare a performance. He's going to put on a play during the party to like go through our latest victory, our battle with Coda, to like highlight
Very cool.
everybody's contribution from the Four Winds to this magnificent victory. So he'll like play Toby like casting all sorts of crazy healing spells, and then Rome transforming into a T-Rex, and Roulette like with the like force field ability that she did, and Telperion locking swords with Coda like one-on-one, and then Jiri flying
It
around
worked.
with Shaggy. Yeah. Well, we'll pretend like you like held your own by yourself, Telperion. And so yeah, he'll put on that performance, and he'll buy some supplies for this like a big party for
Yeah.
everybody.
Awesome. So you're able to chat around, and people are definitely very engaged with you all as not just the Forsaken Winds, who are the catalyst of this union of peoples facilitating this army in the first place, but also as high-ranking members of your new recent titles in this army as well. People are very eager to get some FaceTime with you, be able to flout that, oh yeah, I'm good friends with the Paragon, I'm good friends with the Bravura, for example, the Magus. And you also see that, surprisingly perhaps, in this war encampment staging ground, there's a lot of interest in giving each other discounted rates for stuff. We're all one team. In some sense, we should be bartering for services instead of just buying things. But people are also very altruistically interested in investing in different groups of people throughout here. And there becomes a very small, self-sustaining little economy as these different populaces occupy Forest Hollow and are in a lot of goodwill, really propping each other up, and little groups begin to pop up of like the Woodcrafters Guild. There's a small group of people. Jokel and Roulette probably draw attention toward the Smith throughout the coming weeks, and metal crafters of various import in Selithar and Dragonborn, and various people that are interested in that craft begin to flock and have their own little pocket of town where you go to them for your metal crafting needs. So there's this interesting economy you start to understand is popping up, and you're absolutely able to invest 50 worth of gold to what I would say is the theatrical guild that is interested in just like bringing entertainment to otherwise a very serious town. So I imagine you, in addition to purchasing supplies, are able to make some allies in that circle.
And then obviously I'll have everybody pick like what performance they're gonna put on. Like I'll go to everybody and be like, guys, we need more entertainment. Like I need to like schedule you guys to have like a mini performance. Like Telperion, maybe you could like do some sword moves or something like that. In Rome, you could like, I don't know, do plant stuff.
I'll grow things on stage.
That'd be great.
I like the idea that Telperion's like, I do like doing sword moves.
That is amazing.
Or that maybe you could build stuff. And Toby, maybe you could, I don't know, do magic.
Very well. As you begin to instruct your friends on a play and you invest the gold into the play, I think what I'd like to have is, Jiri, you've done this before in some fashion, putting on a play, boosting morale through entertainment to a crowd. So I actually don't want to roll from you, but you're going to get a different buff. I want to have the other 4 make a performance check. And I'll say each individual that beats a DC 10 will be giving Jiri an additional buff here.
Oh my god, nat 20.
Nat 20.
Well, I've got a +2. I think I'm the. Oh, Rome has some charisma. I was wondering if I was the only other charismatic one. I got a 9 + 2, 11.
Okay,
God.
so you beat 10. Telperion, you beat 10. And a nat 20, I'll count that as 2 successes. Rome and Roulette, unfortunately, not as natural in the theatrical pursuits. However, with 3 successes,
They didn't get it.
Jiri-
They just didn't understand it.
I had them go
Jiri,
later
yeah.
in the Jury first saw this and had the two of them go like later in so everybody's like drunk. So it's like maybe it'll go over a little bit better.
Whatever I build
Amazing.
does one of two things. It either breaks, probably not, or hurts someone because I'm just used to building like offensive weapons.
You flashbang the entire like audience.
Yes.
Amazing.
I accidentally upcast pyrotechnics.
Holy shit. I also I'm thinking about for the nat 20. I think Telperion does something he hasn't done before, which he's using a little bit of his wizardry, and then he's just like, I think it would be really unique for his people to see him treating psionics with levity, and so I think it would just be this really cool thing of like he uses psionics to like levitate and like move dummies around, and he's like moving stuff, and then weaves in some silent image to like create like these like flashes of different enemies we fought while he's fighting these with psionics and his cool sword moves, and it just like he just lucks out and it just all sinks because it was a 20.
Very cool. Yeah, it just happens to be a awesomely cinematic experience in general. And Jiri, although all the others are participating, you are the ringleader of this scenario, and people know that from you. And so, what was going to be an automatic because of time and resource investment, it was going to be an automatic D4, but because of 3 successes, it'll go to a D6, D8, D10. So you gain a single D10 Bardic Inspiration die that you can use at any time. It is expended when used.
Very cool.
Juicy.
I love this sub theme of Jiri, like having these weird bardic inspiration dies that just happen sometimes. It's pretty fun.
Cool, because it's like some other people invest downtime in very tangible things, and so I want tangible RP stuff to be able to have some version of a reward too, and that extra D10 on like an important roll is definitely no joke.
Yeah. So the other downtime activities I had involve like a little bit of travel, like going to like to go shopping and other stuff. So maybe I'll wait until that's kind of like a bigger group activity.
That sounds good. We can definitely wait till something like that. And I know you're throwing up timeout real quick, but one thing just regarding when you reached out to me with some downtime interest, one thing I'll just say is in Croatia, all cities are war-torn, Durastian occupied, so you're not going to be able to go to nearby cities and buy stuff from populaces. However, if you guys as a crew are still interested in having Korik escort you back to Kor Ital for like a shopping spree, that can definitely happen. Over
That's what I was thinking. Going back to Corey Tall, I would ask the Beast King who his tailor is also. So I think Beast King is in Corey Tall, right?
We always sussed.
In general, it maintains presence at Kor Ital. Maybe not always there, but yes.
I was just gonna say, from a like planning perspective, I don't have something in particular I'm shopping for. I would just love it's been a while since we saw any inventories. I would love to shop a little. Also, that might be good for, because a lot of us might want to do a little. If we do it early, we also might have time to think about what we want to purchase while other people are going. So like it just could scheme out if we do it now and then like.
Sure.
As opposed to like it getting to me at the end and being like, now we see inventories and now everyone's like, oh shit, we have 5 minutes to think about a major purchase.
That's a good point. If anything, we won't RP through the Kor Ital visit yet, but I can at least say, hey, when you guys get to Kor Ital, this is what Mirage's inventory available is.
The other thing I think we might want to do as a group is, could we visit a library together? I feel like there's information that we probably all want to gather, so maybe a library trip might be useful.
I would say
it has one.
Kor Ital is a society that is not
Literate?
has not emphasized the written record of. They're much more of a oration culture, and although the Ithilwinge are storytellers as well, their Palestone archives are a very extensive, widely diverse archive. So if anything, I would say travel to Ithinian is probably less viable, but you could make requests for tomes to be brought to you rapidly over the course of the month.
Ooh, okay.
Would it be any more feasible to, if we wanted to go to Thantuar and use the mirror to get there? I don't know how much that shortens.
Still
things.
it would require Corix to escort you to Thantor and back. But yeah, Gray's End at Mythindil would be viable. Which is likely how they'll be getting the tomes to you.
We could set up a teleport thing to get us to our house in Bithynian. Man, that would solve a lot of issues.
If only we were level 11 and I could do that.
Right. What's a level?
So, we're not heading there quite yet, but when you eventually want to get to Corital, I will pull up the Mirage Arcanium's inventory. And now that things have settled a little bit from the Baron's moot location and army populaces have disseminated from that area, there might still be some version of a presence there, but Mirage is no longer utilizing his Arcanium for goods and service and storage space for supplies. He is back in Corital, thriving in business, and I will pull up my thing here.
Oh, we pull a prank on him. I've thought about this one. Jiri is gonna cast seeming on everybody to make everybody look like Jiri's, but then he's gonna have Telperion cast disguise self on himself so that there's like a second layer underneath of another Jiri, and then Jiri is gonna cast disguise self on himself so there's a second layer underneath of Telperion to see if he can. And then we're gonna ask like Mirage if he can't find the real Jiri, he has to give us a huge discount.
Love that.
Please.
Wait, do I know? I think I know disguise self.
Oh, really? Okay, so then there's a second layer under Roulette as well, because we'll tell Roulette to cast that.
I do know disguise self.
Very cool.
Double
Just
illusion.
Just to do this, you guys' magic pretty strong. You are able to go into the Mirage Arcanium, enact this prank, and Mirage says, "Very well, this is intriguing, but let's place money. Let's place wagers on it, shall we?
Oh God.
Let me have 2 guesses. On the first failure, this one owes you all 50 gold. On the second failure, this one owes you each an additional 50 gold. But if Mirage fails his second guess, one of you 5 Forsaken Winds, must walk away with a purchase of some sort from the Arcanium.
If he succeeds in one of those 2 guesses, you're saying?
I mean, we're probably gonna buy something.
Do we have a deal?
All 5 Jiris make that face.
Sold
my God.
sold to this Jiri, shaking his head subtly. Okay. I'm gonna have him make a perception check or an insight check.
This is the most important roll that's ever happened.
I would like you all to make a deception check. Jiri himself gets advantage.
I'm pretending to be Telperion, I'm pretending to be Jiri.
Telperion doesn't even know who or what he's pretending to be anymore. Which is why he has a -1.
Rome is a Jiri shaped tree.
Oh my God, it's a big roll.
Bum, 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 bum. One.
I rolled a 1 and I have -1.
Oh God.
Just like roulette during the performance.
But
So
that
a
all
couple
that,
here,
all
a
that tells him is that
0.
Telperion is
Roulette,
definitely
what's your roll?
Telperion.
Oh, you rolled a 15.
I was
So Mirage puts a discerning eye, scratches his little furry chin.
little furry chin.
These are quite thorough. That one's Telperion. He's sticking his chest out much too much. That is a habit hard to break. But the 4 of you. You are Telperion. Or you are Jiri. And he points to Roulette.
I forget. I don't even know what layers I have, but I drop the disguise self, and I show up as Jiri again under roulette. But then I like pick my hand up and
I see what is happening here.
I pull my hair out, like a little bit of my hair shows outside the illusion. My red hair.
Very well. Yes, this one promises he won't inspect
sorry.
physically, for that would ruin the disguise.
How did that roll again? Sorry.
Hey, sorry. Furball gets up in my...
Our DM sneezes in character.
I would like all of you to make a perception check real quick.
Oh, he's cheating.
I love it.
Oh, I can make one too. I'm not out of this because I rolled a
yeah.
1. I cast Detect Thoughts. I rolled it.
Oh, nice.
Best detect.
Let's see what his roll is. It's a 20.
Fuck.
It looks like Rome.
Beats it.
Rome,
Pizza,
you're
pizza.
the only one that catches Mirage's sleight of hand. As he reached down, you saw him flick something from his robe into his hand, and you swear you heard within the sound of the sneeze an incantation. He looks up. That is Jiri. And he points to you, Jiri.
Oh, I shout to Jiri, Jiri, no, he cheated.
Cheated? In what way?
I saw you move your hand in that particular manner. That's not fair. You can't use magic.
Perceptive eyes may have caught this one casting his spell through seeing, but that wasn't stipulated in the rules.
Mirage rules are rules, man. You lost.
I agree, and now you will all be purchasing one item at least from the Arcanium,
God,
since
I love it.
magical assistance was not stipulated to break any such rules.
But we do get 50 gold, right?
Oh shit! I
absolutely-
should have fucking
You
counterspelled.
all get 50 gold.
Oh my god, imagine we used a Detect Thoughts and a Counterspell in this RP game.
I didn't see it happen. I couldn't catch it.
Yes, you do
No.
each get 50 gold from Mirage, sticking true to his word, but
Oh my
you
God.
must purchase one item at the
Can I have
Arcanium.
5 platinum
Yeah.
instead?
Roulette, next time we're writing out a contract with rules.
Sure.
Can I
Yeah,
have
Mirage
500
has-
silver instead?
Mirage has adequate stores of gold where you guys can each add 5 platinum. Since
MK, I have 473 silver if you ever need conversion.
And yes, Toby, if you actually prefer 500 silver, you can
Yeah,
do that.
I actually would. It was initially a joke, but yes, I do use powdered silver for a few things.
Okay.
Jiri, I'll be on top of the contract next time. Apologies, this happened a bit too fast. I'll catch it.
No clauses that he can get out of. It's
No
gonna be
clause, no clauses.
I love that he's literally about to pay us 50 gold, and Toby's like, "No platinum, come on." And then Jerry's like, and then Toby's like, "Can I have silver?"
But then he will, in eagerness to sell you guys something, will quickly go through his inventory. He still has quite a few figurines of Wondrous Power available in various rarities, which we can go over if you're interested in them. There's a single golden lion. There's an ebony fly, a marble elephant, an onyx dog, a silver raven, a bronze griffin, and an obsidian steed. He also still has a ruby of the war mage, a pearl of power, which actually I think one of you bought a pearl of power, but he had 2. A portable hole,
I have the Pearl of Power.
a portable hole, a jeweled rapier, a dagger of warning, glamored studded leather, a breastplate of alacrity that would help initiative, plate armor of fire resistance, cape of the mountebank, which is a shawl robe cape that's an enhanced version of what he sold to Roulette as the sash of Misty Step.
It's a teleport, right?
It is it's
Jab right
one
there.
use of dimension door, and upon landing, your space is lightly obscured by what's it called? I don't even know if it's lightly obscured, but it's something.
That would look so cool on Toby. With
The only,
mobility issues
the only
sometimes.
problem is I don't know you guys' aesthetic preferences. It is like a vermilion bright red cloak. But yes, the smoke that appears when you arrive lightly obscures the space you left and appeared in. Now, lightly obscured, people can still see you unless you have features that interact interestingly with lightly obscured.
Oh,
But then he has a series of spell scrolls that could be of interest. He has a series of potions that could be of interest. He has one bead of force left. He has a brazier of commanding fire elementals. He has a horn of blasting, a necklace of fireballs, and a rope of entanglement. So quite a few items throughout there. If you heard something that's interesting, we can dive into specifics. And obviously we can start getting into costs and stuff, but not
Are
necessarily
all
tackle
the
all
figurines the
those.
same price?
No, so they're very varied rarity. The lion, fly, elephant, dog, and griffin are rare at different price tags. And the silver raven is uncommon. And the obsidian steed is the most rare, very rare, and it's worth 6,000 gold.
Is this like an item that we can like look up? Is it like a D&D Beyond
think if
item?
If you look
I
up-
think so. If you look up
Figurine.
Figurines of Wondrous Power,
Figurines of Wondrous Power. Okay, thank you.
some of those are in his inventory. He doesn't have every one.
plural that figurines wondrous power.
it's true. I just wanted to look. Can you command it as a Mao?
The obsidian steed and the griffin, yes. Maybe the ebony fly, because I think it's a giant fly. Some of these are absolutely intended to be used as mounts.
How much is the Griffin?
The bronze griffin, which is a rare creature, is 5,000 gold.
Yeah.
What about the dog?
The onyx dog, which isn't as good of a mount, but is good for like a sentry guard type deal, or whatever creative uses you come up with for it, is rare and priced at 2,500.
The beat of force was 500.
I think he might have given you a discount at the time. I have them as 600 per bead.
I didn't remember.
Griffins have an 80 speed of fly.
Can I sell him stuff?
Absolutely. What do you want to sell?
I have an extra set of jeweler's tools, and I know the man likes jewelry. And I have a +1 pickaxe head.
Very cool. Go ahead and roll
Oh god.
persuasion.
Yeah, we're dumping a spark of insight or whatever the hell it is into this.
Flash
Whatever
of
the hell my
genius.
Og class ability is. Give him disadvantage for not knowing his rate class.
Did
Actually,
that-
give me two separate rolls. First one's for jewelers, second one's for the rare item
Jesus.
or the
Fuck.
magic item.
9 for the first one.
Okay.
Uh,
He will buy your jeweler's tools for 18 gold.
Cool. And then the +1 pickaxe. 14.
With a 14 and it being a magic item to some degree that will need additional work to make it into something functional, is above 10. He'll buy that for 100 gold.
I will gladly sell that for a quick 118.
Perfect. Clear out your inventory a little bit.
He wouldn't buy just like regular studded leather, would he? And this is like
Um,
clean studded leather. This is like what I started with.
He probably would, but he would probably take a cut because he's going to have to resell it to the tanner in town.
I'll find someone else to sell it to.
If you want, you can go ahead and just roll that for selling that to the tanner.
Sure.
How much is a portable hole?
His portable hole is 1,500 gold. And you got a 21 on your persuasion?
Yeah.
For leather armor,
Studded leather.
studded leather armor. The tanner will buy it for, it's very, we'll say this one's a good quality, and generally speaking, they will buy it at half cost. but you rolled very well, so he'll buy it at above half cost for 68 gold.
Ooh.
So funny.
much
He's
is,
just scrabbling gold together so desperately. He's like in the couch looking for pennies.
How much is the?
I'm out with Rome's animals in the woods.
You know, you could just work and make money.
There's a war.
How much is the Cape of the? What is it? Mountain.
Oh,
Cape,
Mountebank.
Cape of the Mountebank is 5,000.
Oh wow.
It's essentially a free 4th level spell slot every day,
Yeah.
so that's not cheap.
I'll buy something.
What does he have any potions of healing?
You could absolutely get the cheapest thing he has. He just wanted a sale. He does have 3 potions of minor healing.
I will gladly purchase all 3 of those with some of the stuff I just sold.
Okay.
Well, I'll buy one of them myself.
Okay, so 2 to Roulette, 1 to Telperion.
How much does that cost?
25 per.
Okay, I will spend.
Do you want me to buy? I'll buy 2 of them. You get buy one.
Okay.
This is.
Okay, so 50 from Telperion and 1 for Roulette.
What other potions is he rocking with?
He has a draft of antitoxin for 25, 2 elixirs of health for 100, 1 potion of greater healing for 200, and 1 potion of superior healing for 1,000.
It's 1,000. I thought. They were
And
500.
he also has a potion of speed for also 1,000.
Here, you still have that, right?
I still have one, yes. It's my contingency just in case.
Would someone
Christopher-
be willing to help me buy the superior?
Would Telperion be willing?
Would anyone?
Oh,
How much do you need?
At a
Before-
minimum, like 300, but I'd love to go half and half.
also, it is
I
huge.
think I also mistook. I have a haste thing in here that was worth 1,000, but that was meant to be for a scroll. A potion of speed, not potion of haste, is 500 gold.
We gotta reset the session.
Okay, let's hop ship.
Well, no,
It's just the head of the pickaxe. Like we would have to.
it was useful as a tool.
We had never used it.
We did use it once.
No, we didn't.
You chopped away in the dwarf in the mine under the volcano. You mined with it.
Did we use it like the day
Yeah,
we got it?
we got like dragon bone from it.
I had the dragon tail tip and dragon tooth. Well, the dragon tail tip, that was it.
I have a +1 great axe. I'm gonna sell.
Girl, what? Sell that shit.
No one wants this. No one needs my +1 great axe, right?
You got a +1 great axe?
Yeah.
I don't know how I have
We,
it.
we
Where
got
did
that.
that come from?
We got that from the dude we assassinated. Not assassinated.
The
we-
Reaver?
Executed the Reaver. I think it was his.
Oh.
The one that I tried to Cortex warp but didn't.
Oh, yeah.
I still have my golden needle of spell right.
Yeah. As a counterspell or something?
No, it has magic weapon.
Oh,
in it.
magic
It's a
weapon,
level
yeah.
1 spell. Maybe I should sell that.
You have it as it's a tattoo on you right now. You cannot sell it.
You can attune it.
I don't think you can.
Can you not?
I think it's on you until you use it to cast the spell.
Yeah, you just have a tattoo now.
Yes, the needle became a tattoo
Oh.
that can be used. It cannot now not become a tattoo.
You just have a
the
cute tattoo now.
feather.
That
The
makes
red
sense.
plume quill definitely works differently. Although, interestingly, maybe similar magics are at play there. Magical tattoo emphasis, which is a thing that might exist in the world if a culture knows about that type of thing. An uncommon +1 great axe. Mirage would probably divert you to Mr. Steamfang at Steamfang Forge
Oh,
or Red
yeah.
Dragonborn Gentleman. And he would buy that for I need to find that. For +1 rare item of that caliber, he would buy it for 400 gold.
Bought or sold.
Ooh. Roulette, I'm currently not using your spell refueling ring. I don't know if that's something we can sell or if you.
No.
Okay.
I no. No. If we sold it and then I reused the infusion, that would just turn into a basic ring.
I love to think that you said that way more complicatedly than you just said it.
I did, yeah.
like,
No, we can't sell it. But if you're not using it, I'll gladly take it back. I'll see if I have anything else. I don't know how to say this in game, but are you just like out of attunement slots that you have ready to use?
What, say that again?
Because that ring is attuned, right?
Yeah, I do not have attunement slots
Okay.
for it right now, unfortunately.
Um,
Would love to have more than 3, I should say, attunement slots,
Is
but
that possible?
it is, if you're a roulette, it is.
Oh, good.
I think there's also a feat in
Yeah,
Tal'Dorei
it's a
Warren
very
book.
juicy feat.
Yeah.
no, there's no way. Sadly, no way we can sell that in good conscience. I'll say.
Well, I'm not using it right now, but I might need it back someday. But I'll give it.
I'll hold on to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But looks like that is a free infusion available now.
So Toby, before you buy that spell,
And the way
Thing.
Roulette's
Potion.
tackling gives me nightmares.
I would love to have a superior healing back in the contingency band.
would that be the only one we had in there?
I am making 2 graders with Ira. I just need to budget correctly because he's letting me discount it pretty greatly. I think it was either for 100 or 125 each.
The superior is almost like a full reset with you
It's-
using the ring, right?
It's 8d4 plus 8, so that's 40 immediately if I use it on someone unconscious.
As
how
a
much-
bonus
how much-
action with your ring. A
how much
bonus
is a
action, 40
greater?
HP.
How much is a grader?
44 plus 4, and
44
therefore
plus
20 total. So half as effective as the
When I'm using
superior in
it.
that situation.
I mean, in combat, we will have said to ourselves, we wish we had spent the gold for someone to go to 0 to 40 HP. So I do, like, even though it kind of hurts, I personally think it'd be fun as a party if we had the portable hole. That could be fun and a tool we've
How much
never
was
had
that one?
before. 1.5, okay.
What does that do?
It's like a bag
Makes
of
a
holding,
hole?
but bigger. Yeah,
Oh.
it's like a pocket square that you can unfold into, I believe, a 5-foot diameter hole that is also 10 feet deep or so. I'll look up the exact
You can
dimensions.
use it to smuggle people.
I think it's 5-foot radius. If I
You already can do that, though.
10 by
It's
10.
for people. That's what we got the pendant for.
But we could do more.
We could smuggle everyone.
10 feet deep, 6 feet diameter.
Oh,
so
okay.
pi r squared times 10, it's a big volume.
I agree. I'd rather have that than the potion, because like the whole point of the potion is just to get somebody away from 0 HP, right?
We have a lot of healing as a party that we wouldn't. I actually agree with that. But also, it's Toby's desire, so to have, if you want to have a superior in there.
How much did Iris say he was gonna let me do the potions for? Was it 125 each?
I'll pull that.
Because I was
gonna
gonna help him each day. It was one of the
Greater.
2.
Base price he would normally charge someone is 200. Material cost would be 100. If you help him with it for a full week of your downtime, he will sell you it at cost of 100, or you could not spend any time and he'll sell you it at a discount of 125 per.
Right. Okay. So I have minus 50. I have 1,065. Take away 200. I have 865 gold to spend. I am willing to contribute to the portable hole.
What's 1.5 divided by 5?
300.
300.
If we each get 300, that could work. I'm down. I'd get 300.
I can give 300.
I do too.
Click.
Roulette?
Oh. Is this the loan you want from me that I
That
Well,
would,
you
it
300.
would be, yeah.
as a loan, capital L to my husband.
The interest rate.
I'll put 600 in for this right now as a loan.
An
Homeboy's
interest
saving
rate
up
of
for stuff.
5% per session. I want to keep
Okay.
all my silver.
Portable hole is yours.
Can
for
we say I made that
1.5K.
purchase to fulfill Mirage's?
You
Well,
guys
you
have
got
two
purchased
health
a couple
potions.
potions and
3
this. You
potions.
guys have satisfied his needs.
I just gave myself 300 gold instead of
Um,
subtracting it.
And
I'll-
he wasn't suggesting you each have to buy something. He was just like, the Forsaken Winds have to walk out of here with something.
I'd like to ask his recommendation for cool arrows. If he has any, where I should look to get magical arrows. I've got 2 ice arrows I'll show him that have been doing good.
This might seem like a long shot, and he will need time to acquire them, but the Jet of Jazura, one of the champions of King Sultan Severin to the south, often utilizes enchanted or magecraft arrows, just like what you are asking about, but he has a very specific supplier down on the coast. I could reach out and see if he's willing to, for the Forsaken Winds and United Kin Army's use, make available some of them. But it might
I'd be
take some
willing
time to
pay.
hear back.
I'd be willing to pay. No special treatment expected.
Yes, of course. This one will reach out and will inform you when that information becomes available.
Thank you, friend. I have a chain shirt, a shield, and a short bow I'd like to sell. Would those just go for half price if I sell them to the forge guy?
Indeed. Actually, go ahead and make a persuasion roll, because that can affect it.
I'm good at that.
Yeah, above 10, you can get the clean half price for those items. So if shield's 20, you get 10 or whatever. So you can look up weapons and armor, delete those 3 things from your inventory, and add half their cost to your
Thank you, sir.
gold.
Mirage, how much is the cheapest, the Raven figurine?
It is a good question. Someone as illustrious as in reputation as you certainly doesn't want the cheapest this one has to offer, does he? But it would
Mirage.
go for a measly 300 gold.
Oh, that's not bad. Mirage, yeah, I need to save up my money. I'm buying a new outfit. I gotta stop looking like a street urchin and start looking like a prince. It's time.
This one can put you in touch with his tailor if you are interested.
Oh yeah, you got a guy? I was gonna ask the Beast King as well, and then
Indeed,
maybe I'll pick between the two.
this one's tailor is utilized by the Beast King, so they are one and the same.
Oh my gosh, tell me.
I will tell you his name in secret. You must come closer, for his name can be known only to those that are trusted customers.
My lips are sealed. I'll never speak it out loud ever.
And he will whisper into your ear the name of the tailor, and you now know that. I will text you.
Ooh, I love secrets.
Dope.
I'm so happy to be part of a secret for once. Rem, did you want that Raven statue? It's
Okay.
300.
300. I'm kind of running low on funds.
Oh no, how much money do you have left?
I have 400 gold left.
Hold on. Let's see if it's in my budget.
I could send.
492 gold.
I'd be willing to send you 400 gold if you want to make a purchase, Jiri.
Wait, no. I'm gonna buy it for 400 gold. Wait, it's only 300.
Oh, I thought you were looking at something
Wait,
else.
does this item have to be attuned?
Which
Yeah.
item?
The figurine of Raven.
I don't believe any of the
Oh.
figurines require attunement.
Nope.
It's a sick Raven that you can cast the Animal Messenger with. I don't know if we need that though.
Yeah, I don't know if we because I feel like
I really
these
wanted
are
the dog. The
excellent.
dog is sick, but it's too expensive.
Hmm.
I'll have to come back for it. Yeah, Mirage, hold on to that Onyx dog for us. I'll be back for it.
Mirage, just like curious question. How much, if you had the Staff of the Woodlands, how much would that cost?
Bro. He had it.
You in person ask for the Staff of the Woodlands, and he says, "Well, this one used to have many staves, but they have been gobbled up by his loyal customer base. What are you looking for? What sort of capabilities to a staff are you interested in?"
Like an all-powerful weapon, that can pretty much allow me to do all sorts of things. Like a tree stride or
facilitating natural magics.
Yes,
Definitely not
exactly.
within this one's own domain of arcane exploration, but he could tap a few contacts and see if they have anything that could suit your needs. But similarly to Tobirama's request, it would be some time before he receives some feedback on the matter, but he will look into it.
Thank you, Mirage.
Indeed.
So Mirage, so what I'm hearing is you are in need of some potentially magical staves or staves to fill your inventory.
Are you offering one?
And I take out of the bag the root staff that we took from the Raga.
The Hedge Witch staff of Charming.
No, this is just the root staff. It's an arcane focus. It has like a little, I think, like bird cage thingy at the end of it or something. Rome actually mended it originally. Just wondering, what it might take to get this off my hands into your inventory.
We're gonna make an Arcana check with Mirage.
I don't believe this thing actually does anything. I think it's just an arcane focus. Cool.
And he's now aware of that.
It has hidden properties that make it worth twice as much.
This one suspects that although certainly useful for the arcane arts and channeling magic, even of natural perhaps, means through it, simple staff of such without overt magical properties would run you in the range of arcane foci. This one could take it off your... It is a nice foci. Focus. I could purchase it for 10 gold.
Can I make an insight check just to confirm?
You certainly can.
I'm not being had.
I always just trust Mirage implicitly.
I specifically
16.
in my head was like, I'm not gonna insight check Mirage.
He's always worth an insight check too, the slippery bard.
Oh, 18.
Mirage seems pretty straightforward about the deal, and you haven't detected any magical capabilities from the staff, so you definitely believe him.
Rome, are you okay if we offload this? I know you've got your own staff that you're working with.
I don't mind at all.
Mirage, if you wouldn't mind giving the lady her 10 gold. Rome, you did fix this, so it's all yours. 10 gold to you, Rome.
Another sale completed, and we'll hand Rome 10 gold.
How much is the Pearl of Power?
The one per remaining Pearl Power I have as 800 gold.
I don't think an attunement slot is worth it for me to get level 1 slots back.
Oh, Pearl of Power's attunement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's good because it can be up to 3rd level, but like a single... It only would ever be a 1 level, so it's
right for you.
I have a Pearl of Power. You can always... it's not even attuned.
Oh.
Yeah,
good to know I can borrow it, thank you.
yeah, you can totally borrow it. Why not?
For now I won't, but that does sound really tempting. Also, that's really tempting from like I can do maybe 1 or 2 things you guys can't with my spell slots. So if ever we need to plan we could know that would help me do more, like, because I can silent image, which is cool, and like we could totally do plans based around it, and I could recharge based off that. So like party shenanigans that enables.
Same thing with the spell refueling ring, which I will likely attune, but
Ooh, that's fair too.
that's also 3rd level or lower.
Y'all are so good to Telperion with your superior spell casting.
Go do your cantrip.
Yeah, he's like a little kindergartner. He's like, look at this one.
He hold up a lighter.
Literally, he just has he has a thumb, like a little
Amazing.
fire on his thumb from
Which is
prestidigitation.
that? Oh, Hades.
Perfect.
Before we leave Mirage's, or at some point, I will pull Mirage aside. Mirage, I want you to look at two things, and I'll take out a sack of 500 gold, and I'll just place it on the counter, and I will put my notebook out with the early ideas of plans for item. I have no idea what I'm going to actually need for this, but I mostly just wanted to put a quick down payment for any sort of arcane bits, bobs, consumables, and reusables that I might need from you over the coming weeks. We've got a bit of rest time before our next big war effort, and I'm gonna start building something, and I might need some stuff from you.
This is fascinating. Your mind works in ways this one doesn't understand, but even if your pursuits are more mechanical in nature, this one suspects he may have appropriate resources for you, magically enhanced levers, resistant gears and metals that won't corrode. This could be very interesting. This one will happily 500. I will begin gathering some bits and bobs that I think you will make use of for this price. I won't take your gold until we arrive at a conclusion, but it sounds good.
Thank you.
Very well. Any other purchases, business to resolve before we move back to downtime resolutions?
I'll just remind him I'm always on the hunt for high quality incense. I know we used up everything he could acquire, so I
And
just want
he
to.
not only that, he wasn't able to acquire any, or very little. Most of it came from Korik. So he will make sure that Korik is made aware of your request as well, in case that is available.
Awesome.
What spell scrolls does he have?
It is valid.
I guess even for you, higher level spell scrolls are still of interest.
Can I
because
cast them?
You could try to
have
cast
to
them.
make an
Any
Arcana
spellcasting class has to make an Arcana check to try and cast a thing. If you fail, though, the spell is expended, or the scroll's expended, and you don't get the effect.
Okay.
So with that in mind, we'll go top down. 5th level spell, only one he has available is Animate Objects, 2,500 gold. 4th level spells, he has Polymorph, Storm Sphere, and Greater Invisibility, 1,000 each. 3rd level spells, half that cost at 500 each. Dispel Magic, Hypnotic Pattern, Tongues, Water Breathing, Fireball. 2nd level, Blur, Earthbind, Knock, See Invisibility, and Zone of Truth. 100 each. 1st level, 50 each. Burning Hands, Chromatic Orb, Comprehend Languages, Find Familiar, Grease, Mage Armor, Sleep, and Thunder Wave. And then he has various cantrips. If you're interested in one, ask about it. He probably has it.
Okay, thank you. I'll be gonna think of those for a little bit. Burning Hands, Sleep, Chromatic Orb. Can you guys cast Zone of Truth?
I can cast Zone of Truth.
Good, okay. We don't need that. Cool. Alright, that's all I need to know. Thank you.
Yeah, it's hard for me to justify spell scrolls because they have to be within your class, and if they're already within my class, then I can just prepare them. So like I was like, oh, hypnotic pattern. Then I was like, oh wait, I can't use that.
Blur is 100.
Blur second level spell 100. Yep.
That
Oh,
could be.
because you can do any.
That could be cool. Well, I can't do any, but Wizard has the widest.
You'd have to succeed in order to cast it, potentially wasting your turn if you mess it up. But that's a big buff.
I'll look it up.
Big butt.
What's the
Disadvantage.
mechanics?
How do you
spell
beat-
scroll?
What do you have to beat? Like, do I have to beat 10? Like,
10 plus.
You would have to 10 plus the spell level. So for a second level spell, you have to make an Arcana check and hit 12 or higher.
I have a +3 to Arcana.
Yeah,
So that's-
so you have a
that's-
better than 50-50 chance of doing it.
100 gold's nothing, and it's kind of fun. But I'm gonna look at the spell. I might buy it. Let me think about it.
Okay.
While we're just doing, I have one other item thing I want to do. So I like putting like energy out in the universe to see what happens, and I'm gonna write a letter to the jeweler in Athenian with whom I bartered, like, did some dealings. I sold him a very high caliber diamond that was potent for enchanting. It's been a while. I don't know what he's done, but I want to just send him a letter, and I want to send him 3 Elicorn scale feathers, which I took from Aquilari's like resting place. And I just want to say, like, the essence of the letter would be like, how's that diamond doing?
Is this anything?
Making anything interesting? Do you find these interesting? No need to return them. Just like kind of putting it out there, and like you can take time to think about his answer, but that's one thing I want.
Investing in a relationship for potential.
Yeah, and also
potential
like,
future.
so what you make with that cool diamond I sold you that maybe you made some cool with.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I will take a look. I think, if I'm remembering correctly, I think that was Emmerich Casimir D'Armin the Fourth.
That's what I have here in my notes.
Okay. So yes, letter can be sent.
I'll reduce that.
All right, some requests made. Mirage is looking into some things. He will say to Rome and Jiri that he believes he's finalized his plans for the Wind Fan and Bane Wood Brooch. So he can go over those with you. He doesn't have them finished yet, but he'll go over them.
Oh, yeah, tell us.
Yes.
Give us the deets.
So Rome, he intends, yours is fairly straightforward. It was a fairly straightforward buff from an uncommon tier rarity to a rare tier. And he's planning to upgrade the Banewood brooch to the Bane Claw brooch. Which would still retain the form of an Ouroboros serpent cradling the black pearl. Although then the wooden serpent would occasionally animate, slowly slithering around and constantly eating its tail. And when you wear that, in addition to the 1d6 benefit of acid damage in your forms, it would also grant +1 to attack and damage rolls.
Ooh.
Nice.
In either form, polymorph or wild.
Yes, in any form that alters your form, such as polymorph, wild shape.
That's so cool.
I love it.
It is
That's so hard to do.
It's intended to meld with forms and buff them, which is not typical of most magic items. Then Jiri, he has ambition to upgrade the Wind Fan to be the fan of 4 winds.
Shit.
Oh, wow.
The Fan of 4 Winds would be the new name of the new fan.
It would
I'm blown away
enhance-
already.
He would remove
Stop.
the old simplistically enchanted parchment of the fan's paper and refit it with a magically reinforced scroll of cloud giant fighting styles, which is just like steeped in ancient magic. It is an acquisition he made a long time ago, and it would, in theory, have 3 charges and regain 1d3 charges at dawn. So you'd have to roll a d6, and it either fills 1, 2, or 3. And you can expend a charge to cast 1 of 4 spells: Jump, Gust of Wind, Warding Wind, and Featherfall, but targeting only 1 creature. Because the fan's magic would have to catch them. It can't catch 6-8 creatures at once.
Dude,
so There's
Nice.
4 spells it can cast, but you have 3 charges to do so. So, you can't cast all of them each day, but you can cast the same one 3 times if you want.
Cool.
That is his intent, the way he's puzzled out, unless you guys each have alterations. You were like, oh, I like this part, but I don't like that part. But otherwise, he has a plan in place, and it's going to take him an additional 4 weeks to complete it. So it won't be done this downtime session. But after this downtime session and a couple other sessions, maybe it's coming your way shortly.
I mean, no, that would definitely breathe a breath of fresh air into that item. So,
I see what you did there, my friend.
yeah.
Very well. As long as you are satisfied, though, that is the plan for these 2 items. You will move forward as such. Very well. Well, thank you for the business, all of you. Now, I know you have responsibilities to see to, so get the fuck out of here.
Oh yeah, double that incense order. Bye.
This one will see what Korik can do. Perfect.
I need to find
All
a
right,
dealer.
So that visit to Corital happens at some point, Korik being the one to escort you to and fro from For's Hollow and Corital. And since he's the one escorting you, MK, give him some time. Give him some time, but by the end of the month, he can scrounge up another 300 gold worth of high quality incense. If that is of use.
165. It's 250 per. I'd really love if he can get to like 340, but I'll emphasize that anything is better than nothing.
I'll give him a check to see if he has it. High is good for you, so 11 or higher, he'll be able to give you 350. 1 to 10, he's only got the 300.
Cool.
50-50 shot.
Hey.
All right, he's got 350, so as long as you're willing to spend 350 gold for it, you can have all the incense he's able to acquire. And it is a lot of incense, but again, it's not like pounds and pounds of incense. It's like a couple bundles of really high quality incense sticks.
Okay.
Dobie, is 250 coming from Jiri?
Yeah. I already subtracted 350, so if you want to supply 250, that'd be great.
Well, I'm saying, can I use 250 of that for you to use
100%.
Legend Lore?
100%.
Okay. So I will purchase 250 of that.
Okay.
Okay, so Toby, if you subtracted 350, go ahead and add back in 250.
Right.
Jiri, subtract 250.
Yep. Knowing
that one of your uses of that spell seems like it's dedicated to Jiri's
100%.
Request. Okay. You are brought back to Forest Hollow. Jiri, one of your downtime activities has been resolved. We did some good shopping. Who was next? I believe Telperion was next with a 16 on his downtime rolls.
We're going to skip him, and we're going to go to Rome next.
Rome. Perfect.
Right.
Rome, what are you interested in pursuing in downtime?
Rome is going to try and do something that may not work, but there's going to be an attempt.
Roulette shows up.
Roulette shows up.
This is going to be entertaining.
Roulette, I need to figure out where my Divinor base is. It is very distressing to me that I do not have it. It is in the hands of evil. I would like for us to create a compass that perhaps would point in the direction of my base, but I think that it will require some investigation by me in the forest to sense the direction that it may be in, and also to ask my creator how we would be able to make this device. So the way in which I intend on doing this is I'm gonna ritually cast Commune with Nature, and then simultaneously cast Tree Stride to stride through the forest really quickly to try and like get
Okay.
a like warm cold. Like, am I going in the right direction?
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
I got you.
But also
Absolutely
like
love it. Super
communing
awesome.
with the natural spirits to like inquire how would I go about making a device like this? Like what instructions can I gain that I can then tell Roulette?
Yep. Understood.
I will, before she does this, uh, very rare spell that I'm probably never going to cast at any other time. You'll see, so like Roulette starts getting a whole idea of like what you're trying to do, that you're going into your natural mind palace to like focus on this stuff. Roulette shows up with what looks like a headset almost, but it basically is like a half tiara that like has what look like nodes that just like rests on your ears. And I will cast Intellect Fortress on Rome. So you have resistance to psychic damage. Don't really matter about that. Advantage on intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throws. And my hope is that in whatever focus you are trying to do, giving you that. And I can't do the other one because that's is it enhance ability concentration?
Yes.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, I will cast Intellect Fortress, attempting to give you some better focus on that. And then when she actually does it, I will cast, I think Detect Magic is not a concentration. No, it is. Never mind. Yeah, I'll just start jotting down ideas for compasses.
Okay. Rome. Are you wanting to spend I'll ask this way. Are there any, in addition to this, are there other pursuits you're interested in throughout the time, or is this something you're willing and interested in putting a majority of your downtime to?
I want to put the majority of my downtime towards this because I would imagine that, like, well, yeah, as I already said, Rome is like highly distressed that she does not have her vessel, because that's like from whence I came. So yeah, I want to spend all my time doing this so that I can like actually figure out a way to find it.
Okay. Go ahead.
You have 5 minutes, by the way.
Okay. You begin this pursuit. Maybe once or a couple times per day. Tree striding and communing with nature, and just over the course of weeks of time, the rest of the people might be training with their units or doing other downtime stuff, and it becomes clear over the majority of the month, not necessarily all of it, but the majority of the month, that Rome is pretty seldom around you guys, constantly dowsing the forest for information. And as you bring your wide radius of 3-mile radius, I believe, commune with nature through expansive terrain in the forest over days and days of travel, pausing to rest whenever you like, but just over the course of a month, you're able to search an enormous portion of the forest. Go ahead and make a wisdom saving throw, and you can go ahead and have advantage on this.
Bad.
You gain the frustrating knowledge that in your experience over the course of this month, trying to siphon any knowledge the land has to offer about Divinor, strange metals that don't quite belong, things like that, or that are of unique power level that just stand out from mundane surroundings. There is not a single blip on your radar of anything that suggests the location of Divinor other than Toby Rama's medallion. With your 17 on the wisdom save here, you don't gain clarity, but you gain a suspicion that Divinor, although sufficient to contain your form as a resting place and from where you came. It wasn't always your home. A vessel vase of primal earth used to be it, even as recently as the Sundering 2,000 years ago, before the Divinor vase was made for you. So, in theory, other items of sufficient power might be able to contain you, but you do gain very clearly that there does not seem to be Divinor anywhere, not a trace of Divinor anywhere you searched. And this somewhat reinforces the idea that if Durast has a heightened emphasis of search for this stuff, it is rare beyond belief. And although frustrating, it does sort of solidify the understanding of, oh, this shit's not going to be found just like scouring the earth and like trying to find ore deposits, for example. The shit's rare as heck.
Heckin'.
At what point during these weeks do I realize that, like, even though I lost my Divinor base, like, there's a potential that we could just make a new vessel out of something else? Like, at what point do I come to that realization? Like, at the end of the weeks, or?
I think the end could be a natural, sort of intuitive thing, but I'll let that be your call. How quickly you deduce that, okay, the Divinor, I am attached to it. It is where I came from most recently, but I've been held by other things in the past. Maybe other things can hold me in the future. But you just definitely know that it would need to be of sufficient material to be able to contain someone like you, and additionally, you would need someone that knows magic well enough to bind you to something like that. You remember your old friend Odion, in your wounded state, had to bind you to the artifact, and a permanent binding magic, binding a being to an item, is extremely powerful magic.
So I need to find a really powerful person, is what you're telling me.
Perhaps. In addition to maybe a material suitable for a home.
All right.
During this time, while I am kind of like assisting Rome and kind of focusing,
Before you hit that thought, we should jump ship.
Oh
yeah.
12,
Oh, that was
11,
gonna hurt. That was gonna
10,
hurt.
9, 8.
Yeah, that one had the makings of a painful one.
I saw it start saying less than a minute. I started counting. I was like, if it gets to 5 seconds in my count, I'll shout it out. So to prevent the trauma.
During that time, one other thing I will do to at least start getting my brain wheels turning for Rome. I'll chat with Toby at one point to have him confirm that I know how the locate object spell works. I will throw that in the ring, and then a few days throughout the month, I will basically sit in silence with my headphones on and my eyes closed to like mute everything, cast locate object, and I'll just have like Toby walk around, and I will just focus on the spell, specifically Divinor, following him around.
Yeah, you can have
roulette
item that fits that description.
Yeah.
Please make an Arcana check.
Sure.
Can I know if she's gonna do something enhance what she needs to?
If you would like.
I would like to.
Sure.
Advantage.
Uno mas. 17.
You find an unfortunate answer immediately in this venture. You cast Locate Object, and although Detect Magic in the presence of the medallion has like borderline blinded you, Locate Object is triggered and nothing catches your radar. Not even when the medallion is directly in front of you, not when Toby Rama walks that way, and you put it together, even with that check, you put it together immediately. That almost with lead-like properties,
Whoa.
Divinor is immune to divination magics.
E?
Is that the kind Rome was using?
No, she
No,
was
Rome was gathering information from the land that might have information to offer. So even if it's a divination
Bro.
spell, she's kind of gathering information in a different way.
I need to make my first encyclopedia entry of Divinor now.
Divinor has lead-like properties and cannot be found via location-deducing magics, such as that.
Roulette, you've touched the medallion before, yes?
I believe I have.
You
When we
held
first
it
left
once.
Force Hollow. Yeah.
I would like to take it off, put it on roulette, walk into a different room, and try and scry on roulette.
You put it on roulette, and roulette. What's your alignment?
Chaotic good.
I think we already went through that.
Okay, I thought we did too. I just wanted to confirm. Okay, so you
Yeah.
put it on roulette, and roulette. When you don the medallion, even without attuning to it, there's just a sort of subtle warmth emanating from it, and you swear that in the very back of your mind, like almost like a nostalgic memory, you just sort of instinctively think of an old tune you enjoyed once upon a time. Like a thought, almost like an ancient memory, just sort of a melodic synapse fires, and you just like have a memory of something melodic takes your mind for just a moment. But then, Toby Rama, what are you doing? You give it to roulette.
I would
and
like to walk
separately?
into a different room and try and scry on roulette.
I guess it would function like that. Let me look up the rules real quick.
Absolutely.
Hey, what's your alignment?
Me?
Yeah.
Originally it was supposed to be lawful neutral, but Jiri's definitely lawful chaotic or chaotic.
Neutral.
Chaotic good.
You are as well. What's Rome?
I'm true neutral.
True neutral.
Interesting. 3
Um,
chaotics, no lawful.
Toby Rama, I had never really thought to add this language to the item, but this is a property of it, and so you learn through this process an additional property. Although roulette is not attuned to this item, you are able to successfully scry against roulette, but it's fuzzy, it's vague, it's not crisp, and you suspect that upon attunement, having the amulet on you functions as an amulet of proof against detection and location.
What?
I run back into the room. This thing protects against lots of. I just tried to scry on you, and it was hard. I think if
And
you
you know
attune
that if
to
she
it,
enhances her attunement to it, it would be impossible.
wow, that's really cool.
Was Rome's vase attunable?
Rome's vase was not an attuned item, and I actually don't think any magical properties were discerned about it, but it's made of the material.
I will take the medallion back if Roulette is willing.
Why shouldn't I have it?
It's precious to me.
The ring tempts you.
Did you hear the humming? The slight musicality of it?
I did. Is that just part of this thing, or?
I have reason to believe there's something inside of this. I don't know if that's an effect of it. This
Okay.
this is part of what I divulged when I first looked into the history of this item. Something was contained in this. I don't know if it's giving off the musicality of it, but
Do we think that like there's another like Mythline in here?
Right, yeah, something or someone.
Oh, hey, Rome.
I was laughing because I was imagining Telperion just evaporating into the scene of like, wait, this has martial implications. Like she can't scry on us. Like, and then Rome. I like the idea of Rome and Telperion bustling in. Like, wait, this is related to what we care about.
Yeah,
Maybe I can wear the dread iron pauldron without being worried about.
Yeah, couple
Moira's
couple
looking in.
things, couple things, real quick. Roulette, as you are finishing up this experiment with Toby and handing it over, you just feel a sensation of deep sadness. And similar to the instinct of hearing an old tune that was pleasing and familiar to you, you just like a memory from your past of sadness just glimpses across your mind for no reason. And you just feel like crying for just a moment. It passes briefly as you hand it over, but there's just an emotional moment as you hand over the medallion. Additionally, Jiri, I'd like you to make wisdom saves until you succeed.
What?
Do I show up? Guys, what's going on in here?
Absolutely. You're welcome to show up, do whatever you want during downtime. I just want to keep rolling.
Oh, that's
Keep
gotta
going.
be. No.
What's he saving from?
Fucking knows.
Oh yeah, there we go.
I am just now realizing you're going to have to hit nat 20. Keep rolling until you hit nat 20.
Start erasing that file now.
So the rest of us can continue resolving things, but Jiri, just keep rolling until you hit a nat 20. Okay, so 4. That was earlier than I expected. So 4 tries in, you hit a nat 20. You don't know what this is, but thank you.
Do I feel anything? Does Jiri know this is happening? Is there like any?
There's
insight?
no indication of nefarious altercations.
That's a cool medallion you got there.
Can Rome inspect the medallion and she puts her ear up to the side of it? See if there's
You
anybody.
will notice Toby is very hesitant to let people just out of nowhere touch the item, so he will make very clear that you can get close. I would not like you to risk touching the item.
Do you
Keith
listen to
would
Toby,
have
or do you want to try and touch it?
I mean, I would like to be able to touch it, if possible. But if Toby doesn't want me to touch it, he can just hold it up so that I can just put my ear up to it, hear if there's anybody in there.
I will give
Toby?
that. I will do such. I will hold it up to her ear in like a claw grip, so that if something were to touch it, would probably be my fingers.
Rome, as you put up your ear, you don't hear anything, but you do get a mild headache.
Ooh.
That's about all.
What is the sound like? So wait, there's no sound. Like if I'm getting a headache, there's like some frequency that's coming off of this thing. Like
It's a
I don't
magical
feel
headache.
it's a magical headache.
It definitely doesn't seem like a high-pitched ringing or anything like that that's causing a headache. You just get discomfort in your mind as you become closer to it.
Okay, well, with the information that Rome has about her vase, she wants to try and make her own vase at this moment in time. And maybe perhaps she thinks that she can make it out of natural materials and then it can be I don't know, magically bound to her when they find somebody who's strong enough to do it.
Sure. Well, you definitely can try and put something together. You could also take inspiration from Roulette or other crafters in town and spend true resources and time in this, so you can begin that process. You can create a makeshift clay or woodland vessel of some sort and begin the probably long-term process of imbuing magic into it. You can definitely begin that process. Nothing mechanical.
That process will start with the collection of materials, and she's gonna send off her forest traders to go and look for things that
Okay.
look like they're of value that maybe people dropped along their way, traveling through the forest, anything that's like shiny.
Rome, if you need a magical vessel to live in, you can live in my bottle of Orin air.
That's just regular air.
In regular air from Orin, which is a completely different plane of existence.
Except it's also this one.
There's some connection between this realm and that realm, but they're separate.
Telperian's eating tearing off a piece of mutton just aimlessly.
Yeah, for me it's a cake pop. For him it's mutton.
Yeah.
Don't listen to him. He's just being mean. It's
Jiri, open the bottle.
very
Can
powerful.
I smell this air?
No, because then you let all the air out.
So you can never open the bottle?
My father's essence is in there. We must keep it alive.
Why can't I? Can I meet your father?
You can take a quick peek. That's it. But I'm not gonna let you touch it, just like Toby wouldn't let you touch his medallion. You can sniff it. That's it.
Can I smell the Orin air?
Well, if you get a headache,
Like-
it's just because of Jiri.
Uncork
Okay, you
it and then
uncork
corks
it very rapidly. Rome, make a perception check.
Nat 20 this, please.
Damn, not good today.
Even with the leaking of a minute amount of theoretically different air, you do not detect any difference from the ambient air around you in smell.
Would be a good vessel. Very magical. My dad's in there.
I cannot share a space with another magical being, Jiri.
You
I need my own
roommates.
space.
It'd be fun.
No, roommates.
Okay.
Mates.
Very well.
Roommates.
Well, after resolving some of Roulette and a little bit of some others, Telperion, I think we'll tackle you next on downtime activities.
Okay, how are we all doing? It's been 2 hours.
Oh, that's true. We are
Right.
at 2 hours if we want to break and come back.
I think that sounds good.
Perfect. See you guys in a few minutes.
Nice, skip ahead. Oh, they say it a lot.
Yeah.
Jesus, that was just one movie? I can't watch anymore right now.
Of what are you referring to?
Steve sent me a video, TikTok, and it's just every time they say Harry Potter in all of the movies in a row, and it's just like, it's only movie one, and they've said it so many times.
There's a 6.5-minute video of every time Owen Wilson has said the word "wow."
Jeez.
Wow, wow,
It's
wow, wow,
so
wow,
many
wow,
times.
wow, wow, wow.
It's like the B movie. There's a version where it speeds up every single time they say B.
Yeah.
That
It's
one
only
was
like
so good.
5 minutes long.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
The B.
Okay.
No, it isn't.
So, if we're ready to dive back in, Telperion, what's on your mind as downtime activities take place?
A couple of things. One major one. I have a small thing I'm looking to try. You know, I want to. How do I do this? I'm curious about if I could send Minerva 2 items with a note of explanation, maybe some messaging. I don't know if it's easy to run into her at any point, but during this month of time,
She's definitely posted up in Athenian with your mother, and the leaders and certainly royalty still kind of stay to their main cities and send ambassadors, generals, warriors in their stead. So the leaders are not often in For's Hollow for sure. So you would need to send things home.
okay. I have a question with her. If I could send her 2 very precious items, and like with this note of explanation of like, I've acquired these 2 things. I'm looking to reclaim them in a new way. Of like, one is from an old culture, my boots, and then I have this yukata that I'm curious about that is from a man who I respect in some ways and disrespect in other ways, and have this like complicated relationship with. And essentially, I'm curious if any of our smiths or clothiers or could make them a little bit more my vibe, as like I'm claiming these as a sense, and want to see what I can do just to like retain their magical essence, not change them in that way, but just like sync them more with who I am, because I am aware of my sense of the Crescent Knight of our people and this ambassador, and like I don't think just walking around in these things that look like a mashup is what I'm going for.
I mean,
I imagine Boots and Yukata are wanting to refresh their color palette, I assume.
Yeah.
appropriating culture, top priority.
It feels it's interesting because like I do have I feel weird wearing this like thing that I can tell is traditional
But it's
of
a bad
this
culture.
guy, but it's probably a culture that might be respectable in some ways, but like I don't respect him, and I'm not like trying to walk around being like I'm Koda's like little protege, but like it's something that's really special too. So
in Baldur's Gate 3, you get all sorts of cool shit, and you can just re-dye them. We don't need to over analyze it, but I will say, altering the appearance of magically reinforced items definitely has a cost, and this is a luxury. This is a royalty game that like people with money can afford to do this. No normal person would spend money on doing this, so it's definitely a cost. I would say maybe 25 gold piece per tier quality of the item. So if the boots are rare and the yukata is rare, or is it very rare?
they're both just rare.
Both just rare. So 150 gold total would, by the time downtime's over, get both of these back to you. Minerva probably won't do it herself, but someone in
for sure.
the Moonset Grove, at her request, could make this happen for you.
And then one of the
magically altering to match your preferred aesthetic.
And then one of the questions of like you, my wizard friend, could the flames be Moonfire of our cult of our people? Like, is that a part of the tweaking?
I will say that is not possible. Altering the visual effect of a magically conjured thing, it's still a shot or Chardalon's fire as part of the nature of the effect. So no, that cannot turn to Moonflame.
Sounds good. I'll reduce 150. And then I was also picturing the design on the yukata would be more like, maybe they could make it look more flowing and like change, not just a color switch, but like just create it to look a little bit more in line with our culture.
Sure, they could probably maybe restitch and like literally in a tailoring sense, alter the way it like grabs itself and stuff. So sure, it can be altered somewhat in addition to being recolored for sure.
Sweet. So I do that, and I send it with my most trusted Selithar. Like, I'll walk you there myself if I need to, but this can't be, Okay. So then, I guess I'm curious too about the arrival of the Crescent Knights, because that'll probably change some of what I want to do. But I'm probably like just going to the Nora Mercenary Training Ground and just being like, clear this out. This is for I'm taking a section of this, and this is Crescent Knight Telperian's training ground for the next month.
Perfect. Vanya herself, on the following day after the war room discussions, will arrive with, let's say, a dozen Crescent Knight novices that do have shown the similar promise you have early in their development of minor psionics. For whatever reason, these individuals were able to access it, and they are in training like you were, and they are very eager to learn from you. So you want to spend some time sparring with them, instructing, maybe probably benefiting from training yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So I definitely would I think I'd spend the first day and like, all right, let's just look at what we all know together, and let's look at what's happened to me since I left, some of the things that have happened, the marks of progression. Like, and a little bit of it would be me like brainstorming with them of like, we didn't think this, we thought this, I've shown this, and then I would give visual demonstrations. Like the tactical teacher in him would be coming out and like thinking about, how he was taught and putting this, trying to like take these things that he's learned and put them in a framework that he's familiar with to see what it looks like when just changing his thoughts. And then he would start out by, over the next couple days, like showing the stuff he started with and how it's transformed, and then what the psionics growing is doing for how he's adapting things past that. And like, I think this learning would come out that like, we've been doing things in a stale, rigid way because we didn't have the powers to actually change them. And now that like, I would think he'd be showing them like, look how my forms are changing based off the development of these psionics. Like there's growth here beyond just waiting for the powers to develop. And then I have more like practical things I could say. If there's anything you want to say,
go ahead and first make an athletics check, and then make a wisdom check.
That is a 19 on the athletics check.
Okay.
And then the wisdom check. Interesting. This is wisdom check. It was almost a 16. I rolled a 3. But I want to burn into one of my inspirations to reroll it.
Yeah.
I rolled a 6 that time.
Total.
Yeah.
Okay. Your physical training and displaying of your capabilities goes very well. You are, over the course of a week, 2 weeks, the full-ish time, whatever you're intending to spend here, you're able to satisfactorily train these individuals to better understand, sort of put in better context their abilities in the forms. Practicing the forms is an understandable, intuitive thing, but it's such an incomplete part of the picture that almost practicing just the martial forms without supplementing the psionics is an incomplete fighting style in the first place, and therefore you showing off what your trajectory of psionics has allowed your adaptability to be, your fuller picture to be, it is definitely useful to the troops of showing them, oh, we've spent 100 years or more, some of them, practicing 10% of what we should be. It's almost like we could spend our entire 1,000 years of life, if we're able to live that long, practicing and never touch what the Crescent Knight's form should be, because you can't create a yin and yang with only half the picture. So even if occasionally demoralizing, they better understand they have a closer vision of a complete picture of what a Crescent Knight should be moving toward. Are you interested in devoting your entire month toward this specifically, or are there other versions of training you're interested in?
So once I kind of give them the basics, I really want to focus on trying to use my telekinetic movement in a new way. And I want to like combine, like just like I do my small pushes and I push people back 5 feet. So I feel that base power. And then I know I can like with focus move something large, but I want to like with them kind of do what I was doing with the Noras, but probably to a different caliber now of like, I want to have them study me, try their own things against me, and then try to incorporate whatever they can through studying me. But a lot of what I'm going to be doing with them is like trying to, in combat, push like more of them at once, or like do like a burst of momentum with against them that I haven't really generated in the past.
Let me take a look at something real quick. Okay. Times 4 times 7. Okay, I have a loose idea of what I want to do here. So, primarily, what you're looking for is, in addition to trying new things up for yourself and adapting to new things from their responding attacks, working on different ways for your telekinetic movements, we're going to handle this not identically, but similarly to what an enchanting crafting type investment may look like. Mathros and Vanya will relay to you the information that, let me just get back to my notes so that I handle this correctly. They'll relay to you that the troops, and including the Crescent Knights, already have duties, training, providing supplies. So your requirement here is to pay additional gold cost to these troops for this dedicated training sessions, for these training sessions, in addition to their normal duties that they'll still be responsible for. So you are still going to need to invest gold to facilitate this training endeavor in that way. And at the end of this venture, you'll get a check. It might succeed, it might fail, but even on a fail, there might develop either complications or maybe a lower DC for the next time you want to try it. Maybe next time you can try it faster if it failed. So even if it happens to fail and could be unsatisfying in that way, it's progress.
Sounds good.
Is this what you would say you want to use the bulk of your downtime toward? Functionally 4-ish weeks of time and gold expenditure.
Yeah.
Okay. For the troops you're training with, I think it's going to be 100 gold per week to pay for these training sessions, to facilitate the gold cost necessary for these troops helping you. And then I want you to make a single intelligence check.
Yeah, I got you. I'm removing the gold. Removed. Okay. Ugh. I'm literally holding the second one in case I need to use an inspiration, because if I roll under 10, I'm using inspiration.
Okay.
I rolled a 4, so I'm going to roll again.
Okay.
And burn my second inspiration. I rolled a second 4.
I'm interested in giving you an inspiration.
You don't have to.
I
have another one.
Oh, I thought you ran out because I am invested in the succeeding.
Good, 3.
I have 3.
So this would be your final one if you want to expend it.
And if you don't, I will.
No, I'm burning it. This is all I care about with these inspirations is like I hoard them for this. I just want to roll over a 4. I rolled an 8.
Total.
+3.
+3 is 11. I'm holding my D8 Bardic Inspiration that I've been saving for a psionic thing, and I'm going to use it. I rolled a 4. So 12, 13.
Total of 15.
Yeah. Taking everything I have to roll that 15.
Some good gold, 4 weeks of time, which is not nothing, and a lot of valuable resources invested into this. Throughout your training efforts, weeks have gone by, and instructing these individuals is satisfying in its own way because there's sort of a reward to teaching others and being able to like kind of boast a little bit saying, look what I've accomplished. But it is a frustrating experience throughout because they are having a hard time even learning intelligently, are not able to replicate and increase their swordsmanship dramatically just because they learned what we should be able to get to, which can frustrate you until a sparring match happens with an elf named Edina. I'll go ahead and throw our last name in here too. Edina Fargleam. You are sparring with her toward the end of this month. And making your way through a line of dedicated, like they literally were standing in line to spar you, trying to whittle down your exhaustion level so that hopefully the person in last would be able to defeat you. And they're not able to. You still knock them to the ground, and in a fit of frustration, Edina yells, and you are pushed back 5 feet.
Whoa.
And you have this instinct, like a momentary instinct that you fight off, but you just inherently, almost like in a fight, want to just shove her back. And you feel like a...
That was funny.
What does he feel?
That one was great.
That was the worst. That was the worst one. That was the worst one.
Oh, that was the best
It
one.
really was.
That was
Really?
the worst one. In this moment where you have this instinctual retributive desire to just shove back just because you were bested in a way you didn't anticipate being, you just feel like a flooding of psionic that is just like rapidly coursing through you, and then it fades because you think better of it quickly and realize we're in a sparring match. Don't let your emotions get to you that fast. However, that hasn't necessarily happened in you before. You felt like more psionic energy was flooding through you faster than the way you typically ration it out over the course of a day. And you suspect you have an option to utilize more psionic resources more instantaneously. It's going to burn through them faster, but could be valuable to expend more of them at one time for greater effect. And it happened when you wanted to shove her back instinctually. You're not sure what this means yet. You're not sure the mechanics of such a thing, but you think there is a way for you to telekinetically utilize more psionics at one time than you typically do.
Sick. I'm proud of you, Edina.
The hell just happened? I haven't been able to push a person before. Did you all see that? and they all just sort of like as we fade out of the scene, a lot of them start to like excitedly clamor together that, oh shit, someone did something they haven't done before. But that'll bring us toward the close of your month with, I believe we said 400 total gold expended in that training effort, and some vague yet unknown ability may be burgeoning.
Big.
Okay. We tackled a few of you. We'll get back to other Jiri things because we tackled one of yours, but Toby, I don't think we've really gotten into your antics yet.
Yes. I did a day of shopping with the group.
Actually, you were last. Roulette, you were higher than Toby.
Do it.
We know you're crafting something. We briefly touched on that with Mirages. Do you have any additional flavor, descriptions, or things you're also doing over the course of this month?
Two things. One, during my time hanging out with Rome, I will start picking her brain in between the super fast tree striding. Rome, I'm working on a glove of sorts, and I'm wondering if you know of any material. My expertise is in metal. Great thing about metal is it lasts long, it's strong, it's durable, but it does a really good job of conducting electricity, and that's not something I want. Leather gets burnt a little bit too easily over repeated kind of shocks, but I'm wondering if there's any sort of like wood or tree bark or resin covered thing you might be able to either give me ideas on or create that might be able to resist not generate electric charge, but if electric charge is generated near it, not conduct it through to the other side.
Do I know of any materials, like off the top of my head, so that I can look for them as a secondary action to be tree striding?
So I'd say knowledge of and then potential acquiring of are definitely different. Knowledge of, I'm going to say nature check, which is intelligence based. But then if you know of something, your survival will be able to maybe help you guide them in the right direction of. But straight for knowledge, let's roll a nature check.
Ow. Sucking today in terms of rolling.
I'm with you, Rome. It's hard to roll over 10 in this economy.
In this economy. You're not necessarily aware of a specific. You're also not necessarily versed in all of the flora and fauna of this plane, since you're not naturally of this plane, even if you've spent great time here. But you do know that there are maybe shock resistant saps, and there are definitely, and maybe some ores and mineral rich ores, earth, that could resist electricity's touch. You just don't know necessarily what sort of species you might guide roulette toward, but you know, like some sort of that thing should be able to exist.
What if we did something like this, roulette? What if, as I'm traveling about searching for signs of my Divinor vase, I collect as many materials that I think may work, and then we use Jiri to test them. He can send electrical shocks through the materials, and we can see which is the best at resisting them.
Oh, I would love to electrocute anything. That'd be great.
No, okay. Well, Rome, it sounds like he's on board. He might not just be clear on he's the test subject. No, Rome, that's a perfect idea. And I think one other thing, if you could grow it for me at some point, my mom used to have this thing called it was like a cornucopia. I need just a couple examples of small ones that I think might fit on the back of a hand kind of thing. If you could just, when you get a chance, grow me like a few small ones just for sketching and ideas like that.
Sure thing. I can certainly grow you that.
That's all with Rome, and then I will jump to Jiri and Tulpirian. So Jiri, sounds like you might be on board for testing a few things. Tulpirian, you can adjust the color of something, right? If I wanted my shirt to be pink right now,
I touch Jiri's tabby with prestidigitation, and I turn it key lime green.
Rude, and I minor illusion it back to the normal colors.
And then I minor illusion over the minor illusion with asparagus green.
You can do that like instantaneously though, real quick.
Yes.
Okay. I want you to see what you can change this spark color to. 3, 2, 1, and I'll time it. So I'm going to cast Shocking Grasp on Jiri, and I want Telperion, I want you to try and change the color of the sparks that come out that are typically like a white, ultra blue color.
I think they probably stay white ultra blue because I'm casting magic on magic for the first time.
Yeah, I'm gonna say make an Arcana check, Telperion.
Oh, I'm good at
You're
this.
gonna nat 20 this.
No, I'm not. If it involves anything permanent, I don't. 10, so 13.
13. Almost like applying a filter, Roulette, as your Shocking Grasp sparks sort of fly through Telperion's little aura cloud he creates. Telperion, what color, subtly, not drastically, does the coloration change toward?
I tried to make it a little more magenta.
Yeah, okay. So it definitely takes on has some reddish hue within the ultra blue violet light. Definitely turns its color a little bit.
What I want sorry, Jiri, and I'll pick Jiri up.
But so I rolled to see if I'm resistant to this damage type today, and sadly I am not. But Jiri would have said ahead of time, I'm immune to electricity. This is not
but what I need ideas.
He's fine.
I need ideas from you too. So Telperion, you've got the method for kind of changing colors. Jiri, I know you've got some lightning you can shoot. I want the most ferocious, impending color you can think of for electricity. Just
like a neon blue.
Well, that's kind of what it already is. So unless that works, at least think that works. I just kind of brainstorm and
orange,
red,
brainstorm later. We can figure it out.
This takes a top priority today.
But Jiri, I'll need some of your lightning to test out the thing I'm working on too. So
all right, I'm ready to blast it.
So over the course of crafting and after I get stuff from Mirage, and I know it's like 4 weeks, 1 week of prep, and then we'll do 3 weeks of actual crafting. Mm-hmm. So at some point,
so the venture will not be able to be completed in this downtime, but toward the beginning of next downtime opportunity, very likely this gets completed.
Cool.
Okay, so I won't have you roll the check yet until the completion. However, I would love to have you expend what I would say is 4/5 of the cost. So for this item, I forget if we texted a specific, but I think I landed in the realm of 1,500 or so total.
I will gladly
for this endeavor. So 1,200 of that could be spent now, with the rest to be completed at completion.
I will definitely spend 1,200 right now.
Okay. Rome, go ahead and give me a survival check. And Jiri, go ahead and give me an Arcana check using your charisma.
Yeah, Jiri will be using Lightning Bolt twice, and then have to resort to Thunder Whip or Lightning Lure.
All right. Rome, over the course of having some of your critters go and try and gather materials for Roulette, they get some good options that I would say assist Roulette's thought process, but not necessarily deliver a sufficient shock-resistant material directly. But there are some minerals and stones they find that do have resistive properties. There's even some magical bee honeycomb that has sort of unique properties to it. So based on your creature's availability, they will assist Roulette's thought process and in the scientific method, sort of trial and error based strategies she might use in her process. And then Jiri, you're definitely able to I would say, help more directly and maybe alter the DC by 1 with your lightning assistance.
Can I also provide Roulette with the cornucopias that she requested? I made them from cattails.
Ooh.
Absolutely.
In my travels, I came across a patch of cattails, and I went for one.
Rome, this is perfect. I'm not sure I'll use any of these for the final thing, but what I will do with your help, I'll sketch out something specific that, if you wouldn't mind helping grow later on, that'd be perfect. Thank you.
Of course.
Cattail cornucopia. That's all for me.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Then Toby, what you got for downtime?
Yes. First off, something really small. What have I asked Roulette? What does she need to use when I've asked her to powder silver that I have?
I would say, in general, jewelry tools make the most sense, but Roulette is sort of versatile enough that she's probably got different ways with different tools she can, over time, powder stuff for you. However, I'll also say, you guys have an encampment of people here
Right.
now. It probably makes more sense just to delegate that to someone else.
Sure.
Unless you'd like Roulette to handle this
No,
stuff.
I want to find someone who would do this. And I want to try and see if I can use borrowed knowledge to try and be able to do it myself in the future. I don't know that that's going to work.
Does borrowed knowledge last an hour?
It lasts an hour. So
And
I want to
just be proficient with a skill or tool.
It's just skill, and I'm wondering if a tool lets you do a skill check. I don't know how all that interacts. I'd love to.
I do think they're separate, but borrowed knowledge is, I don't think, something you guys are gonna break, and I also think it's limited in its scope enough where I think that's in the same vein enough to, sure, borrowed knowledge can give you proficiency in a tool to let you do that yourself. I will say an hour though is just not that much time.
Sure.
So I'd say maybe you're able to powder 25 silver pieces, or wait, yeah, 25 pieces per hour. So it's like you might have to cast the spell a couple times a day to get burned through hundreds and hundreds of stuff.
I will say that's the math you gave me for powdering my 25 gold pieces per hour.
25 coins can be powdered in an hour. Yeah.
And I don't know how we've done this before, taking just silver coins as currency. Do I need 250 coins powdered to get 25 gold worth of silver dust?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Just something I wanted to figure out. I'll spend time with Ira, making my 2 greater healing potions. I've got borrowed knowledge and enhanceability. I can enhance him, enhance myself, whatever he dictates.
Sure.
For that process.
Yeah, you will be able to assist him, and your assistance isn't necessarily critical for his success, but it is helpful for his time, effort saved, and therefore over the course of a week, he will create for you 2 greater healing potions at cost for 100 gold each.
Boom. I provide 20 platinum to him.
Perfect. He will take it gladly.
And then the rest of my time, I'd like to interact with a regiment of Terracor and see if I can train with them, get anything substantial there towards morale.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me pull up my warfare doc real quick, because since you're spending the majority of your downtime doing this, you definitely can earn a check. As a reminder, monthly training options are weights, which you can improve a damage die if you want. Conditioning, which you could increase your speed by 1. Weapons, which you could increase your range by 1. And then morale, which would increase your morale currently by 2. and doing this would earn you advantage on initiative. You would become proficient with that group,
Awesome.
which you are not. Even though you've had experience with them, you're not proficient in leading them yet. This would fulfill that.
The Terracore have the shift ability, which bumps them a weapon. So if I do weights, get up to a D, would that kind
naturally
of
it's at
great
D
for them?
It could. Naturally, all units start with a D8 at a baseline. So yeah, if you train with weights, your next conflict they are a D10, and you could shift into a D12.
Very cool. I don't think that's what I'm going to do this time. Probably the next time I want to train morale.
Okay. Sounds good. Notably, we'll tackle that next time. We don't need to get into specifics now. Sounds good. You want to train with morale. There's no check necessary involved in this endeavor. You're just utilizing most of your free time training, camaraderizing, just being with your group, familiarizing yourself with many of the Loxodons, Dragonborn, werewolf, lichens, shifters, various beast folk of the Villian Corital population, and other parts of chimeras that make up the Terracore. And you increase your morale with that unit permanently by 2. So hopefully you tracked that somewhere, what your existing morale was.
My morale. Is there a difference between morale and morale for a specific regiment? I've done the same one twice, but...
Oh, I guess, apologies. Your morale is tied to you as the commander. You are gaining a reputation, sort of. So in theory, you could go to another unit, and their morale should be good because they're like, oh, Toby Rama led that other unit very successfully. So it is tied to you. So don't worry about per unit.
Okay.
So your permanent morale that you instill in your trainees increases by 2.
Awesome.
And you become proficient with the Terracore, which means you are you gain advantage on initiative rolls with that group.
Toby, what's your morale?
I'm now at +4.
Go Toby.
What's yours, Jiri?
+3.
How do I know what mine is?
Crit, will you write down the level 1 spell scrolls that Mirage has in the chat, Crit?
I wrote it down. It should be in your...
Yes. It's probably going to come in choppy, but I'm not going to write them all down. I'm going
to just whatever.
Yeah, and that is just going to probably, formatting wise, is probably going to be gross. But
I just couldn't keep up with those ones because there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
And then whatever day we head out for the march, I have something I want to do, but that can wait for any final resolutions for downtime.
Okay, first level spells, all 50 gold
Thank
worth.
you.
Shout it out in the chat. Toby Rama, you train with the Terracore. I have changed the unit selection screen so that proficient commanders includes Toby Rama now for that unit. Now, let me pull up my notes to see if there's anything else I specifically wanted to address here.
Toby, do you have the staff that lets you cast comprehend languages?
Rome has that currently.
We do have that in our party, the ability to cast comprehend languages. Okay, then I will not buy it.
I've also got tongues, which is an increased version of that I can cast on people without concentration.
Toby, are we going to be able to get to Legend Lore this time, or do you think?
100%. It's a 1 hour cast, so on whatever day you want, I'll finish training with the Terracore. And
wait, what do you want to cast it on, Tim?
The Sheath.
Toby Rama, purely because you mentioned it, and I'm just choosing to remind you of a note I have that you mentioned to me once. Are you interested in visiting Gallus's grave?
That is what I would like to do the dawn of the day we march.
I see. Okay, we will tackle that when we get there. Otherwise, that will conclude most of your downtime interest, unless Jiri wants to get your legend lore on the Sheath.
Whenever Toby is available, I would ask him.
We got that incense pretty early on, so this probably would have happened that day or the next day if you were set on this.
Yeah.
I can describe...
And I'll explain to Toby that, that dude had a really good fighting style. I gotta learn it. That key style. Gotta find out about this thing.
Okay. Toby, are you thinking through stuff, or are you
Yeah,
casting
I'm
the
just
spell?
reading legend lore. Okay. I will set up my ivory tusks to kind of cradle the sheath. I will spread out incense in my intricate pattern, and I will cast legend lore.
Okay. As you cast it, go ahead and make a wisdom check. DC is 15.
DC is 15. I got a 50-50 chance. Technically higher.
Knowing that he's going to spend money on this, can I cast Enhance Ability on this day to help him?
The casting of the spell, I believe, takes an hour.
I'm going to say roulette. Because of what I'm instigating here, there's no way you would have known
Okay.
to benefit him in this way. I don't think.
I'm gonna roll in person. Ooh, I rolled a 9 plus 5. Do I want to spend an inspiration on that?
You need a no. Don't spend an inspiration. I will use my bardic inspiration on it.
You're welcome to do that.
Because we only need a 1 to meet it.
You need a 1.
Regardless
Okay.
of what it is.
Can I use my regular mecha one that I usually just have available?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Plus a
Um,
D6.
9
So what
plus-
happens here, since it's your inspiration that is helping Toby hit this DC, is this is what happens. Toby Rama, you cradle the sheath, you set up the incense in the specific pattern you like it to sort of burn through and radiate outwards. And you begin casting the spell, focusing your energy on the sheath, and you light the base of the incense. And quickly, no information starts to be brought to your awareness, Toby Rama, and Jiri, looking over your shoulder, says, hey, Toby, nothing's happening. The sheath isn't glowing. And you open your eyes, and the incense is beginning to start, but the sheath has not sort of landed as the focus of the spell, and you're able to cancel the spell early without expending the components, while gaining the understanding that because this sheath is
It's
not of legendary importance,
I
no
gain no information.
no valuable information is available for the sheath. But you did not expend the gold for it.
I have a question because Toby, we had talked last time,
Sure.
and maybe this is group-esque and stuff because we're doing it. You guys are doing it together. You had talked about using it on the sister sword to the Arknight sword.
Yes, I do not need to have the thing. And I wanted to have a spare one. Tim inquired about having a cast. I'll tell Jiri, this thing doesn't seem to be of legendary importance, and that's kind of what this spell, it tells me of legends and
Rats.
the lore behind them.
Well, you can
You
keep
still
the
bought
incense
this?
then.
Yeah, you
No,
spent
you
the
can keep it.
incense.
We'll have something to cast it on eventually. Dang, I guess I'm gonna have to go to the library and study up. Big brain style.
At another point, did we ever determine which of the two swords he has? We know both of their names, Illimir.
I have it if you want me to
Fangalore.
get it from my notes.
I know what both of the names are. I don't remember which one he has, because I think we would kind
Yeah, I
of
think
like
I'm
to
going to let
name...
you guys stumble your way into remembering this. I don't necessarily think I'm going to jump in here.
I will get it if you want to do something else for a minute because this will take me like a
I'm done
minute.
with my downtime, so...
Okay.
Okay.
Well, next, anyone that wanted a book or had a book request of the Palestone Archives in Athenian toward the end of downtime, or maybe even midway through downtime, those requests could have been delivered on to some degree, maybe some unsuccessful, maybe some successful. We can go around and each person let me know if there was some topic you were interested in, and then I would like to have a roll for how successful that was.
I'm looking for two things. I need a book on bioorganic metals, and then one on key or anything that I can think of that might be related to Koda's like fighting style.
Okay. Go ahead, and I want to have you make a roll for each, and I'm going to say it's sort of the sages and librarians' ability to acquire knowledge, but I want to have you roll for it since it's your request. So they have a +5 to the roll. So go ahead and roll a d20 +5 twice.
20 plus 5.
Representing their
first
ability to
one-
find what you're looking for.
First one is for bioorganic metal.
Okay.
10. And then the other one for key fighting style. 15.
15. With a 10, I would consider it a basic success, not anything crazy, but bioorganic metal, the sage delivers a tome about the construction of golems and imbuing magic into inanimate objects to create animation, instilling sort of bioorganic capabilities to metals and other materials. No long tracked history of like a Divinor or other emphatic bioorganic metals necessarily comes to you. No crazy valuable information that you don't have, but there's definitely sciences and studies and arcane experimentation with the marriage of instilling life and biodiversity into inanimate objects and mundane materials. So there's extensive studies on the topic. The sage picked out something they thought might be of interest, but it's pretty much basics on how to create a golem.
I will need
Just-
Rolette's help, like reading this information probably. So
Okay.
it'll be like maybe bedtime story style stuff.
And then for the 15, the librarians will deliver 2 separate tomes on what key is. And it is commonly believed to lie outside of the typical 3 umbrellas of understood magic, where there's arcane, primal, and divine. Key is sort of the ability of one to harness their own life essence for power, not using the weave for magic. So it's sort of a very, almost in the sense that sorcerer versus wizard is using other knowledge versus innately creating power. Key is very much the latter, but obviously it's very difficult and requires a lot of discipline and training to be able to reliably utilize that power. Coda, the Katola, I'm gonna throw that out in the way of the True Blade is a fighting style that the sages are able to find information on, and the True Blades were a monastic group in Daynor that over centuries had honed their abilities with the blade, enhanced through their key. Functionally very equivalent or a lot of overlap with Kensei monks. So utilizing their key to enhance their weapon capabilities, but also obviously move quicker, not need to rely on food and water, rumoredly, be able to have enhanced physical capabilities, running on walls, running over water. These are all things that people that are become very attuned to their own spirit's energy, their quintessence, the thing that makes them them, are able to harness this power. Lux Monastery in Creatia, near the capital of Ostenis, employs a lot of monks that follow a different path. Light of all colors, by the name Lux. Their path is all about sun soul, utilizing the vibrancy of life to enhance light and utilize its light in their fighting styles. So various ways of sort of utilizing your key are available once you know how to use it. not to go super hunter with it, but in the way that Ren can be used in Hatsu is a way to emphasize your Ren in different ways. So it's the same process with Ki. It's the ability to manipulate your life essence in a particular way that suits your preference, but requires a lot of study, a lot of discipline, a lot of patience, etc. Difficult process, but you do gain some good information on the topic.
Does it have like a starting point on like how would one incorporate this into like training, like from a martial standpoint, like what forms to practice, what attacks to do, what, you know, breath work, training regimen, anything like that?
Entry level stuff.
Entry level stuff, I would say it relays the information that many monks, the Katola, are kind of a separate beast in this way because they're enhancing the weapon play through this. But the many more forms choose to not rely on weapons. Maybe they still incorporate weapons in their fighting styles, but the use of one's natural weapons, one's body as a weapon, in addition to their spirit, mind, and body should be their primary weapon. Anything else is tertiary. Incorporating the use of natural acrobatics, unarmed strikes, etc., seems to be heavily utilized in many monastic traditions. However, for a true starting place, you get the guide through the books that probably first starting place should be finding a monastic order that suits your inclinations and learning from them. It's probably hard to develop Ki-based abilities without learning first. Self-study doesn't make a big appearance. Even if it's possible, it's not heavily emphasized in these texts.
Well, you see, everybody sees Jiri in the morning like punching trees. That's what he takes out of it.
Very cool. Love that. Anyone else specifically interested in Tome's texts lore?
Two things. One, any like science-y books or arcane books on lightning/electricity, just basically reference material that will help with whatever I'm crafting. And then any books by author V.R. Salen after the Stormbender novel, and anything about the author V.R. Salen if they have.
Okay. Go ahead and roll 2 d20s plus 5 each.
Is it Ilomir?
You're welcome to tell parents. No, I would say the fact that you said it out loud and you guys do have in-world understanding. Yes, Ilomir seems to be the sun-based weapon that the Arknights seem to be using. Fengomor was also utilized by Cecilia at the time of the Sundering, and you're not sure where that exists. 11 total and 19 total. So 11 was the sciencey lightning-based information gathering. Again, moderate success beating a 10. Nothing of, intuitive genius strikes her reading, but it's mostly related to natural phenomenon, gods, the nature and divine overlap of their elvish culture does not contain a ton of information of mechanical means of creating electricity or harnessing of. It's a lot more. You do get some text mentioning old elven mythal magics that acted like lightning rods to protect their populace on coastal environments so that they would not be threatened by lightning. There might be things like that would maybe guide Roulette's thought process, but not deliver tangible instructions on.
Gotcha.
19, you are able to, if you would like, acquire all 3 novels in the current trilogy. Whether or not there's more to the trilogy or not, you're able to, at your request, they can make available all 3 novels, which is...
I got them.
A Monarch's Path, Song of Brilliance,
and Stormbender.
Is the climactic end to the trilogy. Again, it might be rumored that VR Silence is working on additional books, maybe, but so far those are the popularly delivered ones to many populaces that even a secluded culture like the Ithilwinge still had access to, and probably simple trades with Creatia were able to acquire books that humanoid populaces really liked. So they got some insight there.
The first time we read through these, I think we read through all 3 of them, if I remember correctly. No,
We
no,
only-
Perhaps. I think you only
First
read
one.
through the first one, yeah.
Sure, I will hold on to them. I want to do a quick, is there an about the author in any of these books?
Sure. V.R. Salins is a pen name of a Triton woman
Triton
who
woman.
does not Triton woman who lives in Norizel along the Jazuran coast at the south of the entire continent. A location you guys have not visited yet. And she famously will not award her true name to any that do not visit her in person. But V.R. Salins is her pen name that she likes for whatever reason. And
Cool. I will I'll hold on to those books.
very well.
Jerry said it. He thinks that's his half-human mother.
Oh, I do remember that. Yeah.
I will send for a book on Cecilia and/or Celestial.
Go ahead and roll. If those are 2 separate topic investigations, go ahead and do 2 d20s plus 5 each.
I guess I'd say, just to help the person, I'm interested in either. So, like, any overlap
Okay.
on the spectrum. I don't
In
care.
that-
Just I want to
yeah,
have
in that
broader
sense,
search.
Roll a d20 with advantage and then add 5. Same thing, I guess, but yeah.
20.
20 total. You are able to get a tome on what seems to be the most. There are tales and legends and storytelling available about Cecilia, but you gain a tome that seems to be a passed down accounting of first-hand witnesses of her exploits at the time of the Sundering. Even in a long-lived population like Elvish people, we are at less than a minute, so I'll remember that in a second. It's still long enough ago that it's still unreliable in its accuracy, but famously, she was one of the fiercest warriors in the Sundering, became a beacon of hope for the populace of defeating this dark god, rode a male Androsphinx as her mount while dual-wielding both Illimir and Fengamore. I'll award a tiny extra bit of information as we jump ship here. Throughout your reading, you gain other bits of information, of maybe Sundering adjacent relevant information, bits and bobs about Cecilia, and famously how she was half elven due to the nature of the word Duthfar, which now you know was actually Dwethfar, and that she's not half elven. She is of 2 halves. So this text already showing a bit of inaccuracy. This text does not mention it, but you know that she was half moon elf, half sun elf. And one of the bits of sort of cinematic information the book also relays is that, according to rumored and firsthand experience, while atop her mount, flying amongst and slashing at and fighting the dark god, a ray of moonlight, even in the middle of the day, was always on her person, or often on her person, not harming her. And as she slashed her sun sword, beams of light would radiate out toward her foes. She seemed to have the blessing of moon and sun in her hands.
Holy shit. I'm gonna finish reading that tome and say to everyone, kind of gathering about at some point. So I was thinking about the sword that the Arknight wields and the armor that he wields, and the recent conversation we just had with the commanders is that, well, I personally don't feel comfortable fighting the Arknight yet. not only are we not powerful enough, but we don't know of any way around his defenses. And I know we were going to try to investigate the scabbard, but I'm curious about if it's worth it. This is self-serving, absolutely. But I also wonder if it would be worth it to pursue, if it was attainable, a celestial weapon to theoretically be able to impenetrate his armor. If we impenetrate his armor, that would be the first step into being able to actually attack him.
The
So
Arc
that's why I wanted
Knight
to.
specifically tried to hand Gallus his sword for it to
Right.
be an even match.
Yeah.
And the spell allows me to retrace a legendary item's history. When I cast this, I might even want to try and super focus in on the first glimpses I see of it, because that should be the most recent history of it. And I will.
Maybe we got 2 uses of that spell. Might as well use it.
Yeah, so I will happily lay out, without any actual object in the center this time, my ritual. And then I will cast Legend Lore and double check with Telperion that I'm supposed to name Fangamore, not Ilmir.
No. I've seen it twice in maybe like trances. Can I silent image an example of what it looks like from my own memory?
You are welcome to.
And
Then I'll do that just as like this is what it looks like, if that kind of focal point helps.
And you said it and I wasn't fully paying attention. We want to find Fangamore.
Correct.
Because the Arc Knight has Ilmir. And when I cast the spell, I will name Fangamore while picturing what Telperion has conjured here.
Okay. Give me a minute. I want to see if.
How much did the instance cost to cast though?
250.
You bought 2 doses.
I have 2 doses worth currently.
I'll throw you 150 towards it.
I just hang on to that because it's not readily available to buy. So the
Okay.
next time we run into it, we can share buying it. But
I'm debating a thing that
I like you debating.
that I think I want to do. I think I'm gonna do it.
I love how Toby has all these knowledge spells. It's so sick for us to be able to poke and prod the world per your magic.
I think that's going to be something as a theme in this campaign is we're not going to be... We might. I mean, Rome is a druid and we'll get transport via plants. But I like the idea of us not bamfing around all over the world, but learning things and diligently going to seek them out when necessary.
We love a music change.
Yikes.
Helperion.
How do you so
Toby Rama sets up his ritual, organizes the pattern of the incense sprinkled around his focal point of the 3 ivory claws, horns, that would normally cradle an object. And from memory, you cast Silent Image to represent the image of Fengamore in its holding place. And this appears.
It's Toby.
Cradled, held aloft in its space as if it were physically here. Toby Rama, you cast your spell. And your mind is immediately shunted elsewhere. You see a dark expanse with only the faintest bit of light in some unknowable source shining enough light to illuminate this cavern. but there's something fuzzy. There's something you're having a hard time focusing on the surroundings for some reason. And then motion takes place. You just feel and innately understand that thousands of years, hundreds of
Just
years,
passed.
and then thousands are passing, and there's motion happening here. But you're not able to focus on almost any of it. It's blurred. I'd like you to make a wisdom check. And then since
Oh,
you might
I'll
have,
inspiration that all day. Let me mark this off. 0, uncheck, roll again. Fuck, man.
I'd add if I could, but I'm at nothing.
you're not sure what's at play here, but suddenly the veil is lifted. You see light. You see sky surrounding you, wind rushing past your face. You look down and Fengamore is in your right hand and Illimir in your left. You're flying through the air, looking for something. Mountains passing underneath you. You zoom further back and you find yourself up against a dark, shadowy mass. You're flying around it, occasionally flying up to it and streaking through the air, carving into it with both blades, reaching into the air with one sword as a beam of moon collapses down onto you, following your mount and you. The sun sword in your left hand slashing the air and beams of radiant sunlight impacting the creature, sometimes getting close enough to physically wound this looming mass. You zoom past that backward further and see an angel standing in front of you. Pale, pale skin, almost translucent, almost off-putting if it wasn't so beautiful. Its features seem delicate and elven and almost feminine, but you think it might be a male figure with beautiful opalescent hair just falling long past the mid-chest. Beautiful bright white wings delicately held behind him. Handing this celestial blade to you. And then after he gives it to you, he holds his hands together, prays, and becomes moonlight that permanently and forever imbues the sword. And then your senses are shaken from the spell, as after seeing the creation of this weapon, there's no more lore to divine about it.
I will start describing, kind of...
I will also just offer the nugget that with Rome's vase, and to a degree the medallion too, because of the history of it being passed down over generations, you seemingly got a lot more information from the other two objects than this object, because seemingly this object was unseeable to you for a long time. You passed hundreds and thousands of years, almost 2,000 years, seemingly after the time of the Sundering. Based on what happened with Fengamore, you gained virtually no information of its history after a certain point.
So this, yeah, and I assume this is related to, I was like, it seemed like it was placed somewhere, lost somewhere, and that's where it's been for hundreds, nearly 2,000 years. Here's a question. Did that, me attempting to make sense of the sensations, do I get the sense that if I tried again, I'd have a better chance, or...
I would say if you try it again, it's likely the situation would replay the same events in the same way. You might have another chance to gain insight
Sure.
on something, perceive something differently, gain understanding in a different way, possibly.
I want to talk to Toby for a second.
Yeah, I want to start
because I assume you were telling me some of that stuff.
relaying everything I see.
So I'd have to check my journals, but what we know about the sword is that Cecilia wielded it. I wonder, based off of your description, if I think she fell from the dark god that she felled. I think it's fuzzy, but the terrors that I've had in my trances imply that maybe whatever part of Cecilia's spirit, I don't know. There's some weird connection there, right? I keep envisioning something that I think is connected to her. And the Feywild sparked those trances in me. Perhaps the first time I went too. But anyway, she fell, and I've had a vision of her falling, I think. You might think Fengamore stayed at her resting place, but also I don't think we should discount the fact that she was of the moon and the sun elves. And I wonder if the sun elves, the Alealor, have her remains, her sword. If you couldn't see what was going on around it, and whatever mystery is, it's not some small magic that hides them from us. It's my life's goal to find them. My people haven't in 1,000 years. I wonder if that magic was enough to disrupt yours.
Very interesting. I mean, there's that. It seems like these swords contain whatever power an angel of Corellin and Seanine.
I just think that was Corellin. I think Corellin was not a single gender. It was a creature and a god of transformation, was connected with angelic wings. The sword has wings, and I think that Celestial is more potent than Divinor, right? Like directly handed to the hero against the darkness from Corellin. It's themselves.
The angel I saw went into specifically Fengamore.
I would say make a wisdom check, Toby Rama.
Because I'm wondering if that was the presentation of two swords or one sword.
There's that whiz.
18's enough to clarify, I think, what you saw. You might not have any understanding of Telperion and his culture's representation of Corellin, what they might appear like to people. But there was something about the essence becoming moonlight and imbuing the sword that you get a sense, like other items that have had beings bound to them, you do think that it seems more like an angel or a deva of some import, could be a planetar, could be a solar, being bound to that weapon rather than, and it did appear to just be Fengamore being handed in that moment.
I'll elaborate on that further to Telperion. I think Corellin and Seanine, or Corellin is you know more about your pantheon, but sent two angels, presumably, to reside in these two swords and be a direct influence from them in this conflict. I think there was not quite divine presentation from that being. Certainly of great celestial importance, but
I point to Jiri. What's Hex Daddy got to say about this? So we're theorizing that some divine being is fused into or blessed into these weapons, and the Arknight is using one of them, presumably not its original divine intent. Would your sword fight against you and your intention? Do these items that are bound with spirits? Why does this sword work for the Arknight?
I could ask my dad that. I don't know if he knows, but hey, hey, dad, not dad, dad. Do you hear that question?
Yes. It is curious. Am I a being that was bound to a sword and corrupted it? And if so, was I allow my magic to flow through you. If I did not wish for you to have my power, you would not. But we are bound inextricably, as if I am the very blood that courses through your veins. I am the weapon you wield, and the weapon you wield is within you, of you, one with you. Perhaps these other weapons, as discrete, separate items, are simply able to be wielded by whoever wishes to. Or perhaps there is some worthiness necessary to be able to wield them. Perhaps the beings in them still do allow this Arknight to wield them forever for whatever reason. Or perhaps they have no say over the matter. But I have say over my magic. But we are a bit different, I suspect, than those scenarios.
I will repeat that to everybody.
That you made a great point, Telperion, that whatever refuge the Aleolord took, if they took this sword with them, or Cecilia's remains, maybe there's something intrinsic about they didn't want this to be found again. And that's why I'm having a hard time piecing together its more recent history.
I just think if the Arknight can't be damaged by mundane weapons, and these weapons we carry are no trifles, but if we need Celestial to deal with his Talon, then what do we need to deal with him? There's just some urgency to it. We can't just kill his other underlings forever. But could we track down that item? Its current whereabouts were fuzzy even in that
I
powerful
could
spell.
try again, and maybe I'd be able to gain more clarity. I just hesitate unless something... It's hard to think of something more important to learn about, but...
I just wonder though, and this involves all of us, what is our goal now? We obviously have the Marshall United Kin Army leveraging us to deal with something I think is important, right? Killing Vitria cripples them. But soon it's Moira and the Arknight, and Moira is going... I mean, we become more powerful through stumbling ourselves into this situation. Do we seek out ways to become powerful more and with more intention to deal with these bigger threats? And how do we do that? I don't think we look to the United Kin Army for that direction. So this goes into more spiritual and...
I agree, Telperion. I think if we deal this blow to Durast, maybe it'll buy us a little bit of time to become more powerful ourselves. Eventually, we're going to have to take the fight the Moira and the Arknight, like you say. So maybe we will have to seek out weapons, and this could be one of them.
Things keep pointing us up to Daenor, and this is one of the reasons why I'm in favor of heading towards Alstenis. My research into the Alealo was cut short because of the Duras, ironically. What if I'd learned something? Right, I mean, just from Fate's perspective, it is ironic. I couldn't get back to Lux Monastery to study that journal and learn more, but that's the closest I've gotten to an Alealo record. So if we head that way, and again, it's self-serving, right? Like this is my back mission personally, but also I think this grander scale is one we need to start contemplating.
But we all need to become more powerful. So maybe there are items that all of us could use. Other things for us to research.
Or perhaps we need to find a mentor who can teach us ways that maybe we're not.
That might work too.
Owlethir comes to mind.
Isn't it distressing that Owlethir is the only one that comes to mind?
Perhaps I envision a circuitous route to Durast and Daenor. Start on the Severan coast, on the coast of Jazura. Make our way to Mount Owlethir. Make our way into Bellidonia for Mirage and other things that may arise. And then try and enter Daenor. I'm gonna spend a few nights in prayer.
I think, yeah, one of the biggest questions we still have is why is Durast fighting this war? Still feel like we don't know that answer yet, and
we just got such a non-reason when they took the Divinor.
Right, and so
maybe they don't need to, but we still don't know what the original need was.
Maybe that's the one question we need to seek out, because then we'll know how to counteract what their plan is, what their goal, what their aim is. We want the opposite, right?
Very likely.
But to Telpiran's point, I think there are ways for all of us to get more powerful. Get Telpiran that cool sword. I must also recharge my own blade. Rome, we could get your vase back.
Roulette, you need to keep being a nerd.
Rome, yeah, read more books.
Well, we do know our short-term goal anyway. Go destroy Vitria. But this is definitely something I would like. And maybe just heading towards Lux Monastery and advancing the war in that direction and getting Croatia back certainly is no small feat. And if we can help Elia, maybe she can.
Yeah, Elia will know more.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't been able to talk to her. And when we met her the first time, I mean, what were we? Just little bodyguards of Gallus's, so we didn't earn much of her.
She probably knows more too, right? So
she probably knows. I mean, of anyone, isn't she? I guess the one who would know why Duras was interested in Croatia.
So and maybe that's true. Short-term and long-term goals both point back to her, maybe.
Oh, I like that then. I like having a direction.
Well, with some intel gathered on Fengamore, some ideas for short and long-term goals, we sort of re-hone in on the mission in the coming weeks.
Yes.
Are there, I'm going to go pull us back to just ambient Forest Hollow theme. Are there any unresolved items from people's downtime before we start moving toward the march?
Yes. Jury's main downtime thing was the morale with the Nora mercenaries. So I'll do a combo of just like training with them, but also I want to see if I can take them back to, if there's any way to get them to travel to Corey Tall with us to participate in the Skyball game. It could be like a fun kind of like team building activity to play a new sport.
I think some of them would love the opportunity to do that. I would say it won't be long enough in duration for you to affect your mechanical morale with them, but absolutely, if you guys are traveling already to Corital for that day of shopping, I imagine others might have seized the opportunity to go see a new city, play some Skyball. So that can absolutely take place. I don't necessarily have structure and rules and stuff for RPing through anything like that, but that
No,
can
yeah, no,
absolutely
they're
happen.
just more so. I mean, Jiri knows the rules of the game. It won't work here on the material plane, but they probably will end up playing like it on the ground and just playing handball, basically.
Yep. Very cool. Love that. That
More
can
so
absolutely
for
happen.
like a morale boost, and that would be my main training mission. I mean, other
Very
than like
awesome.
just training with them back at the war camp too.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then I don't have tokens made for them yet, but are you also, you had invested, you mentioned this, but you hadn't necessarily invested gold in it yet. Were you interested in re-upping your swag level a little
Oh yes, big time. I would like to go find the tailors that Mirage pointed me out to.
bit? Yep.
And I'm gonna drop some cash on this because Jiri wants to look fancy, so he is going to spend 1,000 gold on a new outfit. He's gonna buy new pants. Yep, he's gotta look like a prince now. He's gonna buy new pants, like puffy genie pants. He's gonna buy a new sash, like blue with gold thread, a new tunic, the big lightning bolt pattern on the front, very like Viking Nordic style tunic, and a bandana to wear underneath his goggles, also blue. And then he's also gonna get a big pearl necklace to wear around his neck.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All very cool. I do have the PNG ready.
Oh my God.
It's not ready, but are you fine with me showing that off, Tim?
Oh yeah, big time. Gotta show it.
I love this so much.
Updated
Oh,
Jerry swag.
It's
Wow. Wow, the sword.
Decked out, yeah.
So what is your
Super
tabby
dope.
now? Is it the blue yellow thing?
No, the
Belt?
tabby is in the front. Is the
Oh, the yellow.
cloud.
Got
The
it.
tabby is the cloud patterned
Oh.
thing. The coat is the lemon lime thing.
Yeah, yellow and green, and then oh yeah, scarf, new scarf too. Forgot about that. Big scarf.
love the scarf.
That's awesome.
That's so good.
Definitely the most opulent of you, for sure. Now. And
So he
actually
comes back.
holds its own against being compared next to Telperian's mithril plate, which is very opulent in and of itself. Jiri's maybe edging that now.
Yeah, and so yeah, Jiri says he's gotta set aside the life of a street urchin. When I was young, I was forced to wear those clothing in shame, but now I've learned from my ways. I'm ready to reclaim the mantle as Jarl of Jarland. I gotta look the part.
Very, very
So
sick.
good.
Outstanding. I love the decanter in there too. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jiri on.
Dude, what a character.
Very awesome. Swag added.
Swag added and 1,000 gold subtracted.
I'll buy that $100 blur scroll, by the way.
Okay, you'll buy a blur for $100.
Chris, any chance I could seek out some bards too at Corital? There's got to be at least like I'm looking for 4 storytellers to give a
Yeah,
different
I'd
story
say
to.
absolutely. With especially, it's true with the case, especially with Villian kind. Maybe not the bird folk Aarakocra as much, but the beast folk of like a Corital and the Selethar elves are definitely storytellers in their bones. So yeah, with the mix of populaces here, 100%, there are many storytellers you could get the ear of.
I need 4 of them. I'm gonna pay each 50 gold to tell specific stories that I'm gonna tell them. First one, I'm gonna give the story about like the 4 winds. The new members specifically are gonna be highlighted in this story. Shaggy, Wild Sage Blossom, Daisy, and Loaf. So that word gets out that there's new members. 50 gold to hype up the Nor mercenaries, specifically highlighting Kellen Kickass, one of the most powerful swordsmen in the group. Yep. 50 gold for Jiri's, more of Jiri's like lore and accomplishments, and specifically saying that he's the greatest swordsman in the land. And then another 50 gold for Telperion being the greatest swordsman in the land and having that kind of rivalry be told in 2 separate stories.
Love it. 50 each for a total of 200 you're willing to invest?
Yes.
Okay. All of this gold investment, I have an idea for how that can reap rewards in the future, but nothing now.
If nothing happens now,
ideas.
that's fine. It's more so in the world to get this information out there.
Yep,
You're learning from Rome how to spread seeds.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, indeed. Seeds of exploit and adventure. Love it. Very cool. Is that it for Jiri?
That was it.
Roulette, you had raised your hand when you said if we were concluding any final bits.
Yeah, with a final bit of a loan from Telperion for another. I'm just gonna say 300 because I'm just gonna tell him that I will preemptively buy the remaining 300 gold worth of stuff from merchants, Mirage, everywhere, so that I can finish it up on the road.
Absolutely, yeah, you're able to do that.
How many?
And with a march of a couple days, it'll cut it close. But by the time the warfare effort is over, you might be able to finish your endeavor, or just after. We'll see how that goes. But
how many days are in a week in crafting weeks? Is it 5 or 10?
Let's not do that.
Okay, never mind.
1 work week of whether it took you 5 or 7 days, you got enough time toward the project.
Okay.
Just for my sanity.
Yep.
Perfect. So you have functionally 1 work week left. You might be able to pull that off more quickly than 5 or 7 days, depending on variables.
Got it.
And just judgment. Okay. Any other loose ends to tie up before we consider the starting to tackle the night before you wake up to march?
Nope, I just will have put greater healing potions in the contingency band.
2 graders in the contingency. Love it. Is there another thing in the contingency
An
too? Is it
elixir
full?
of health.
Elixir of health. Okay, so contingency is full.
I have the portable hole in my pocket right now, just for the record.
Okay. Additionally, Telperion, on the final week, your yukata and boots will arrive back in Forest Hollow, matching the requested aesthetic and alterations without dramatically changing the item itself. So you're welcome to describe those as your swag gets altered. But no Moonfire on the Ashar'dalon boots, unfortunately. And an additional parcel comes, for Minerva has finished the crafting of her sending stones. She did not, because you have her tome, she assumed you would want them both, that she would not keep one. So both 2 sending stones of like a borderline translucent lapis colored blue stone that you can definitely see into, not all the way through. 2 sending stones available for your use.
Amazing. I haven't thought about how I want. Okay. I'm gonna think about the description. I'll have it ready next time.
Sure. That concludes the final things I wanted to resolve and tie up. So with that in mind, the month of Morning Sun, or is that the name of it? Shit.
Morning Star.
Thank you. Morning Star concludes its final day, and Sun's Dawn begins tomorrow in the morning. Nothing will happen to need to instigate other shenanigans. I'm sure some version of a send-off party will happen the night before the march to wish all the soldiers and you all and the generals good luck as they begin the next warfare effort. But otherwise, the next day will come. The first of Sun's Dawn will begin. And Tobirama, you're welcome to visit Gallus's grave that morning if you would like to RP through any of that. And otherwise, you guys are welcome to begin the march.
I will just be casting ceremony and giving Gallus proper funeral rites, which I was never able to do. I think after the fact, Toby might put this together, but I don't think he'll shed tears. I think he has learned a new type of strength from Gallus, from his friends, and kind of puts that on display in this moment.
It might surprise you, and normally I wouldn't put emotions into your characters' heads, but there's an external source here. You feel some elation and true joy outside of your natural somber, but putting him to rest and making peace with the benefits Gallus gave to you throughout your experience with him. There's a strange joy that sort of burges within you in this moment. And you realize that the medallion is warmer than usual in this moment. And the sensation feels like appreciation and thanks. Those are emotions that just sort of take over your mind, and you feel the warmth of the medallion against you, and you innately know there's a response from this weapon being so near to not one, but maybe many of its previous bearers. And let's jump ship. So just a small phenomenon that you pick up on. But otherwise, you're welcome to give him proper funeral rites, cast ceremony. Is there anything mechanically I need to be made aware of for ceremony?
It's the next 7 days they cannot become undead, I think is the extent of it.
Understood. Otherwise,
unless someone
final
were to cast
preparations-
Wish
yeah.
on Gallus's corpse to
Gotcha.
turn it undead.
the three generals, Mathros, Rillis, and Dinah, will come check in with you all, check in with their forces who have all arranged outside the city walls, and at sunrise, the army begins to march out, splitting up. You and Mathros's forces marching due west and slightly south, sort of taking the lower crescent around what will eventually be toward the west side of Atheros, as Dinah and Rillis and their forces march northwestward along the Eventide Road to take the other route. You know that in roughly 2 days' time, you'll be passing through and need to quickly Olandris' territory. Hopefully, if Magnus is sticking to his end of the deal, he will facilitate a disruption to their workflow, scouting reports, supply lines for that day alone, buying you enough time to pass through unassaulted and buy you a path to your goal. That in mind, I think we'll close the session there. It's a little earlier than usual, but we never do that. And then we can not feel like we need to rush off if we want to chat about anything, but good stuff. I'm trying to think of inspiration.